dialed in. A very good afternoon for baseball. And live from Talking Stick at Salt River Fields, Sportsnet LA presents Los Angeles Dodgers baseball as they face their Western Division rival, Colorado Rockies. Hi again, everybody. Rick Muddy alongside Kevin Kennedy as we get set to go. A little bit of rain early this morning, some rain last night, but the Dodgers winning a walk-off victory against the Cubs. Now the scene set comes to today. A little bit different look, Kevin, because the Dodgers made 20 roster cuts after last night's game, and we're now going to see many of the players that will pull the biggest part of the wagon.
Well, usually the last 10 days of spring training, Dodgers had a little bit more than that, but usually the last 10 days of spring training, the managers in Major League Baseball like to have their lineup out there on back-to-back days and leading up to the final game in the Freeway Series. You really want them out there for 9 innings. You're going to see guys that played last night. A few of those guys are in this lineup tonight, and that's good news. And
Corey Seager, again, will be the designated hitter. He will play in either a B game or a minor league game tomorrow. But from top to bottom, a lot of the faces, including with Hyun-Jin Ryu. And here's a young man that comes back. The Dodgers need him, and the left-hander gets the start today, his first appearance in Castix Sleep.
Yeah, he didn't have a great year overall last year. You know, he had 24 starts. We've touched on this privately, you and I, when we talk about Hyun-Jin Ryu. He gets right-handers out better than lefties because of his great changeup. He's going to face some tough lefties in this Rockies lineup, leading off with Charlie Blackmon, who led the National League in hitting last year. See how he fares. I want to see what his breaking ball is going to be like today against some of these left-handers.
The lefties had more success against Ryu last year. The Rockies improved bullpen. When we come back, we'll talk about the new look for the Rockies from Scottsdale. Dodgers in Colorado right after this.
There's still time to save at Nissan now. Don't
the offer and get a second Air Dragon. Just pay a separate.
On the season premiere of Backstage Dodgers, as spring training kicks off, the team reflects on the World Series.
I don't think I'll ever get over it. I don't think you'll ever get over losing a Game 7. To be that close, to have it at your grasp was really hard to accept.
Plus, a familiar face is back in Dodger blue.
I don't remember last time I put this on.
Backstage Dodgers, Wednesday at 11 on Sportsnet LA.
Rain earlier, but that has moved aside. We've got some sunshine here in the Valley of the Sun of the Dodgers. Well, things came up rosy last year in the Western Division of the National League. One of the areas they like to improve upon is their record against the Rockies, where they were 9-10. And the Rockies, a little bit different look this season. They were very busy during the offseason. $100 million they dedicated over the next 3 years to their bullpen. And, Kevin, they refer to it as now the Super Bullpen.
Well, they'll find out. Some of those guys have never pitched a lot in Colorado before, starting with their new closer, Wade Davis, on a 3-year deal for $52 million. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's got a great cutter, but he also mixes in a nice fat four-seam fastball at 95 miles an hour and an overhand curveball. Brian Shaw was Mr. Cutter in Cleveland, got a 3-year deal. And Jake McGee, of course, they signed back. Jake throws a fastball. He throws his fastball 95 miles an hour. So all three guys are hard throwers, but the Dodgers love fastballs, so they better have secondary stuff to get the Dodgers out.
And they'll see some fastballs today. The Dodgers and the Rockies, Hinge and Rio getting ready. Hope you're getting ready. Back with the starting lineups in baseball coming away from Scottsdale right after this. The Western Division Colorado Rockies. Hi, everybody. Rick Money alongside Kevin Kennedy with producer and tuner Dwayne McDonald. As we get set to go. Rain earlier this morning. That's gone to the wayside. We've got scattered clouds, 72 degrees, and really just about a 5-mile-an-hour wind blowing out just straight away center field. A lovely day for baseball, and happy to have you with us. For the Dodger Ball Club, a thrilling walk-off victory last night of the night against the Chicago Cubs, and today they moved to the east side of the Valley of the Sun to take on the Rockies. For the Dodgers, they're 9-7-1 so far this spring, and here's the way the Dave Roberts lineup will stack up. Chris Taylor leading it off in center field. The designated hitter again, Corey Seager. Justin Turner is at third. Cody Bellinger, homer last night, is at first. Matt Kemp starting in left. In right field, Yasiel Puig. Yasmani Grandal to catch. Kiki Hernandez at shortstop. Jake Peters had himself quite a spring. He is at second base, and on the mound, Hinge and Ryu. Now, Ryu has pitched a couple of camp games. This is the first time we have seen him on the mound during the A games. And for Kevin, not really certain how many pitches Hinge and Ryu will make, but for the left-hander, getting back into the swing of things today.
Well, in an A game, I think it'll just be how he goes in the first inning. If he has a nice smooth inning and a low pitch count, you would think he would go at least into the second inning. I think it really depends on that. And as we've said a couple of times already, Rick, both off and on the air, Anxious to see how he faces lefties today, because that's been an issue for him over his career.
The Dodgers had a losing record against the Rockies last year. They were 9-10, trying to improve upon that, and they'll face the hard-throwing right-hander German Marquez, who spent his rookie season last year, did it in fine fashion with the Rockies. In 29 starts, was 11 wins and 7 losses. Chris Taylor steps in, and the first pitch is outside on the corner. 0-1. We are underway. Corey Seager on deck, and then Justin Turner. Absolutely picture-perfect afternoon. Announcing the game-time temperature at 72 here as Taylor swings and misses. Fastball that was elevated. At the same time, they announced the temperature in Denver at 48. They will take the temperature here in the Valley of the Sun. 1 ball and 1 strike to Taylor. 6 for 22 so far this spring. Fastball from Marquez is outside, and the count now is 2-1 for Marquez. He went 6-3 at home, 5-4 on the road, and he led the Rockies in a couple of categories, even though it was in his rookie season. A check swing, no swings as the first base umpire. He starts off as Tom Gorman. 3 balls and a strike. Home plate umpire Adrian Johnson today. Working the bases, Brian Gorman, Ryan Addition, and Jerry Davis. And the ball's outside, and we go to a full count, 3-2.
Marquez has a big arm, averaged almost 96 miles an hour with his fastball, and that's what we've seen so far today from him.
Payoff pitch, drive into right center field, and jumping on in a hurry, Charlie Blackmon, who throws a lot of area out there. There is one down. Will quickly set the defense for the Rockies. Ian Desmond gets the start at first base. DJ LeMahieu is at second. Trevor Story is short. And the sure-handed Nolan Arenado is over at third. Outfield from left to right, Gerardo Parra, his first spring training game today. Charlie Blackmon just made the catch in center. David Dole is over in right field, and Chris Iannetta, the veteran, returns to the Rockies doing the catching this afternoon. Corey Seager takes the first pitch outside of ball 1. Seager again the designated hitter. He's 2 for 18. Has 1 RBI, 1 double. Shift is on, 3 men to the right side of the infield, and the 1-0 pitch is taken in, and the count 2-0. One thing about it, Seager tomorrow will get his first action at shortstop, either in a B game or in a minor league game. 2-0 delivery. Marquez misses inside, and the count 3-0.
A reunion for Chris Iannetta, coming back to Colorado. Did a nice job for Arizona last year. That's who's catching today for the Rockies, the veteran.
3 balls, no strikes, and for Seager, gets a pitch to his liking, fouls it off. Count now 3-1. So if you are an opposing pitcher against Corey Seager, how many times will Seager this year get first ball fastball to hit? Did about 500 against those pitches last year. 3-1. Took something off, swing and a miss. Count full, 3-2. So 2 batters into the game. He's got full counts, Marquez has.
Well, Iannetta knows that Corey crushes the fastball and hitters counts. He called a change up there in the 3-1 count.
Right-hander delivery, and the payoff pitch foul back to the screen. Count holds at 3-2. Justin Turner is waiting on deck.
Marquez also throws the slider. Got a good overhand curveball. That's his second pitch. He threw that pitch last year 25% of the time.
Marquez out of Venezuela, just 23 years of age, 6'1", listed at 220. And last year, as we mentioned, his rookie year, made the opening day roster the first time. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's outside, and Seager draws the walk. Brought down to first base in front of Justin Turner, coming in to bat for the Dodgers here with 1 out runner at first in the top of the first inning. Marquez, they saw him briefly at the big league level in 2016, but he began the year, and not too many people are aware of this team. He was a member of the Hartford Yard Goats. Yep, Hartford Yard Goats.
You didn't follow them, Rick?
I missed it. Here's Turner. First ball, drives it down the right field line, coming on Dahl, and makes the catch. Dahl, as we understand, is very good with a glove and showed a very good jump right there and a very strong throwing arm.
And
2 down.
They're also shading the Dodger right-handed hitters to right field. Both on Taylor's fly ball. Blackman was shading to right center. That ball, Dahl was playing straight away and more toward the line and right, and that's exactly where Turner hit it.
Bellinger stepping in 5 for 20 this spring. His first home run this spring last night. Very upright stance. Pitch is taken on the outside corner. 0-1. We mentioned a very upright stance. And if you look at Bellinger, there is an early stride. It's less than shoulder width as far as his feet spread to begin with. He's deep in the box. Left-handed batter. The shift is on. Seager leads off at first. And the pitch. Good rip and a fastball straight back to the screen. 0-2.
Yeah, he had to set it up inside, and when you go inside on Cody Bellinger, the ball is supposed to be up above his hands, and that ball was not up. That was a good swing by Cody.
So the Dodgers open at home on the 29th against the Giants. The Rockies will open up on the road 3 in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. So they're not going to have to travel too far for opening day on the road. Ball inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's the first curveball we've seen from Marquez, and Iannetta tried to hold it out in front and freeze it for the home plate umpire, Adrian Johnson.
1-2 delivery. Breaking ball swung on a miss, and that is going to do it. Well, a rookie no more. Germán Marquez is a walk, a strikeout, and a man left on base. The Dodgers fail to score. They give the ball to left-hander Hyun-Jin Ryu, making his spring training debut here at Scottsdale for the Dodgers. Dodgers against the Rockies. Turned away in their half of the first, and out for Hyun-Jin Ryu coming on and getting the start here this afternoon. 24 starts last year, plus 1 appearance out of the bullpen. And the 31-year-old left-hander out of Incheon, South Korea. 5-9 during the season last year with an ERA just under 3.8. So 2 different times Ryu was on the disabled list. A hip contusion in the first part of May, and then in July, remember, he took the line drive off of his left foot. A contusion to put him on the disabled list as well. Now, how long Ryu is slated to go will be dependent upon a pitch count, we would imagine. For the Rockies, 6 wins and 9 losses so far this spring. It'll be Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and then Nolan Arenado to lead things off for Buddy Black's Rockies. Last year, they were 87-75. Rio's first pitch to Blackmon, the defending National League batting champion. He hit .331 with 37 home runs as a leadoff hitter and knocked in 104. A strike in there, 0-1. Blackmon and a crouch at the knees. He's 5 for 16 so far this spring with a line drive. 1 hop. The shortstop, Kike Hernandez, playing up the middle. Picks it up and throws, and there is 1 down. Ball hit hard.
He's just gotten better and better, Blackmon, as the years have gone on. Steals bases, plays a solid center field, and he could definitely hit a fastball. And he hangs in there tough on lefties. Dodgers had good defensive alignment right there with Kike.
DJ LeMahieu coming on. LeMahieu last year hit .310 with 8 home runs and 64 RBIs. He was really a big man in setting up the lineup In particular for the man on deck, Nolan Arenado, had another monster year. Ryu delivers and is just outside of ball one. Speaking of defensive alignment, and looking at the outfield, Chris Taylor in center playing over in right center against LeMahieu, and for reasons understood. For the third consecutive season, DJ LeMahieu last year had the higher percentage of balls hit the opposite way in the big leagues, 38% of the time the opposite direction. Fouls it off, and the count 1-1.
You got Justin Turner, who is a good 35, 40 feet wide of third base for the very reasons you just said, Rick. And in left field, Kemp is playing well over toward left center. He's playing about 100 feet wide of the foul line.
LeMahieu, right-handed batter, slightly open stance. Grandal catching, sets in the outside corner. The pitch is a little too far outside and low.
Here's the other thing, Rick.
2-1.
If you're going to play him away, you want to pitch him away, and that's exactly what Ryu and Grandal are doing. 2 fastballs off the outside corner. Doesn't mean you can't go in, but you don't want to pitch against your defense.
So loaded to the right side. Pitches a line drive to straightaway center. Chris Taylor right there in time. 2 down. So back-to-back balls have been hit very hard against Hinge and Ryu. One of the things that pitchers talk about, you can throw in the bullpen, you can throw in B games, but then there's that thing called adrenaline when you finally get into what they refer to as the A games.
Well, and we're at March the 11th right now, and we talked about that in the open, that, you know, about the final 10 days to 12 days, the managers start playing their lineups on back-to-back days, and they stretch the guys out 3-4 at bats now. And Ryu is facing the A lineup for the Rockies, so this is a good test for him today.
Well, he's facing one of the A hitters. That's Nolan Arenado. Pops up the first pitch. Long run. Rui coming in, makes the running catch. So Nolan Arenado, 5 consecutive Gold Gloves, had a monster season last year with 130 runs batted in. Swinging at the first pitch for Hinge and Ryu. A very good first inning in spring training indeed. 3 up, 3 down. Runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We go to the second here in Scottsdale at Talking Stick at Salt River Fields. No score, Dodgers and Rockies. Kemp will start things off. A very happy Matt Kemp. He's 8 for 23 in the spring. Comes back to the Dodgers. Takes a strike 0-1. For Kemp said, it's fun again. Because you know it's fun being with a team that takes the field expecting to win ball games. Marquez delivers. And the pitch is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kemp says, you know, every game is exciting. He says, I've not been on a winning team for quite a while. He says, and then there's something special going on, and it rubs off on you with the Dodgers now. Takes a breaking ball for a strike 1 and 2. So his return to the Dodgers, and he's had a good spring, Kevin. And how is the left field starting spot going to shape out? Tolles has also had a good spring.
Well, that 5th spot is perfect for him, too.
1-2 pitch, base hit. And another base hit for Matt Kemp, his 9th of the spring.
Well, if you don't get your breaking ball over against Matt Kemp, and you can still hit a fastball, there's no doubt about that. And he got a high fastball right there. Iannetta wanted it down and away, and Matt jumped all over it after seeing a slider and a curveball.
Yasiel Puig stepping in, 7 for 23 so far this spring. Still looking for his first home run. For Puig, not much has changed as far as the batting stance or the position of the batter's box. Stone's well off the plate. First pitch is outside, a ball 1.
Yeah, the adjustment he made last year, especially a year after going down to the minor leagues the year before, is he got away from wrapping the bat so much. He slightly opened his stance just a little bit.
Pitch on the way. There's a drive to left center field, and that's going to split the alleys. Kemp on his way to third, and he's going to be waved around on the double by Yasiel Puig, and the Dodgers on the board. 2 batters into the second inning. It's 1-0 Los Angeles.
Well, what that setup did for Puig last year, he was able to get through a good inside fastball, because prior to that they tried to pound him in and in and in with fastballs. Now that was supposed to be away, but it was right down the middle, but he had a good pass at that ball. Rocket into left center.
For Puig, his 3rd run batted in of the spring. A single and a double, runner in scoring position for Yasmani Grandal, who's really trying to get on track. He's 3 for 24. And Grandal with 24 bats, he struck out 10 times already. First pitch swinging, base hit, right center field. That's going to score Puig as he rounds third, and the Dodgers with 3 consecutive hits here in the second inning, and they take a 2-0 lead.
Well, the Rockies had the shift on LeMay, who would have been right there had he stayed at second base, but he was halfway between first and second defensively. It was a routine ground ball, even though it was hit hard. The shortstop was on the shortstop side of second base, being Trevor Story, so there was nobody on that ground ball, which would have been a routine out normally.
Still nobody out. Kike Hernandez. A big home run in last night's game against the Cubs at Camelback Ranch. His 2nd of the spring. He's 5 for 19. Takes outside a breaking ball, ball 1. Jake Peter on deck, and he's had an eye-opening spring.
Or has he ever?
Infield to pull. Iannetta setting the outside corner, and the pitch is inside, a check swing. Well, that's a spot your catcher's setting outside. Your pitch is up and in. Looks like a good pitch, but he really missed the target where they were trying to get the ball.
Yeah, after a pretty good first inning for command, Marquez is missing location in this inning on his fastball especially. Grandal has about a foot lead at first base, so if he laid down, Rick, he would fall across the foul line.
With that lead, he'll be not even quick to the lunch truck.
You know, first baseman is Ian Desmond. He might as well play behind Grandal.
2-1 on the way. Fouling off to right now to play. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Because what do you hold him on for? You might as well get a little range by playing behind him a few feet rather than holding him on.
By the way, we're talking about Hyun-Jin Ryu and how long he would be in the game, and said, well, it might depend upon the pitch count. How about this for a pitch count for Hyun-Jin Ryu in his first spring training game? 7 pitches, 5 strikes.
Excellent.
2-2. Nice block in the ball outside by Iannetta on a breaking pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers, by the way, have not been running much at all. They have attempted 11 stolen bases. They have been nailed 8 times. So only 3 have been successful, and doubtful that Grandal will be going here. Held at first by Desmond. He is not going. The payoff pitch is taken down low off the strike zone. And 4 consecutive batters have reached 2 singles, a double, and now a walk to Kike Hernandez.
And Marquez, other than the walk to Seager in the first inning, had a pretty efficient first inning. 18 pitches, 10 for strikes. He hasn't gotten anybody out in this inning.
Well, Germán Andrés Marquez, as we mentioned, he's out of Venezuela. San Felix to begin with. He is not a junior, but he should be a junior. Why? His father's name, Germán Marquez. Here's Jake Peter. Left-handed batter, takes a strike 1-1 for Jake. Talk about the spring that he's had so far. How about 7 for 21? He's tied with Matt Kemp in home runs with 3, and he leads the Dodgers in runs batted in with 12. Takes the strike 0-1. Arenado in tightly at third base. 2 on, nobody out. Couple of runs across. 2-0 Dodgers here in the second inning. Ball outside, and Marquez now really, he is working hard to find the strike zone and not the middle of the strike zone.
Peter is very quiet at the plate. Not a lot of movement. Slightly open stance. Hands are about letter high.
Marquez set. Runners lead off. And the 1-1 is on the way. Big breaking ball, swing and a miss. 0-1.
That's that good overhand curveball when he's on. That's, as I mentioned earlier, that's his best breaking ball. That's the pitch he goes to. Occasionally throws a slider. Very occasionally. Not many.
Leadoff man Chris Taylor waiting on deck. Peter trying to pick up yet another run. The 1-2 on the way from Marquez, taken inside, and Iannetta, who returns to the Rockies. Last year that he had been with Colorado, 2011. He's made already a couple of very good stops of breaking balls in the dirt.
Yeah, that ball was to his right. Good curve ball, and he got down and slid to his right and covered it up nicely, like the veteran that he is. Anticipating the breaking ball in the dirt.
2-2 to Jake Peter. And the pitch fouled off the left side and out of play. Good crowd on hand, even up on the grassy banks in left field and right field. And this complex shared by both the Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Talking Stick at Salt River Field, official name. 2-2 delivery is fouled. It's swung on and missed and gets away from Iannetta. The runners will advance. With a runner on base at first base, it's an automatic out for Peter, who's the strikeout victim. And the runners advance on wild pitch.
I believe that was the changeup. Iannetta looked like he got down. It clipped off the left side of his body. He just didn't close up the left side enough and get around the ball to bring it back to center. And it went off toward the Dodger dugout on the third base side.
First out of the inning. Runners now at second and third for Chris Taylor, who has a couple of RBIs this spring. He flied out to right center field, and that's where the center fielder Blackman has in position right now. Marquez will go from the stretch. First pitch, ground ball, second base. That'll get the run across. Coming in to score is Grandal on the ground out, and Taylor indeed has his third run batted in. 3-0 Dodgers.
Taylor was noticeably different for me since I've been down here, Rick, and I don't mean not as aggressive as last year. He's just quieter at the plate in his setup. Definitely quieter. A couple doubles last night. Did the job right there. Second and third, one out. Infield back. Took the RBI.
Seager is hitting with Hernandez over at third base. Marquez will still go from the stretch position. First pitch is down low. You wonder if part of that maybe calmness of Chris Taylor is a result of having success last year, because remember, prior to last year, that offseason, he redesigned just about everything from a hitting standpoint. His stance, his stride, the leg kick, his hand position.
Sure did.
As Seager takes a strike 1-1.
He was aggressive on every pitch and every fastball that he saw last year. He didn't miss many.
1-1. And Seager takes that for a strike 1-2. As we mentioned, Corey tomorrow will play at shortstop. Oh, he has been throwing to the bases. It's nothing new, but the Dodgers, knowing that, well, there's some time left. This is about the time, though, that the guys that are going to pull most of the load want to start playing more. And there's a drive into right center field. That's going to drop in for the extra base hit. And Corey Seager gets hit with a hit for runs. That's his second double of the spring. Is now 4-0 Dodgers. And here in the inning, there have been 4 hits, and they've cashed in runs.
You make mistakes against the Dodgers, especially on the fastball, and they will kill you. That was a fastball up. Tried to go down and away. Ball was up, a little bit above the belt, middle in, and Seager crushed it to right center.
Justin Turner, who lined out to right field, the only pitch that he had thrown to him in the first inning, stepping in. Now the husband, Justin Turner. Seager leads off at second, and Marquez misses outside with a breaking ball. 1-0.
That was his 43rd pitch already. This is a 25-pitch inning so far.
For Turner, another just a terrific season. Hit 300, above 300, both at home and on the road. Ground ball, left side, that gets through. They're going to wave Seager around. The ball is bobbled and left by Parr, and down to second goes Turner. 5th hit in the inning. Gerardo Parra playing in his first spring training game. He had surgery to repair a broken bone, hamate bone, in his right hand. And he boxed that one, trying to come in and grab it in a hurry to throw it home, but the Dodgers another run across.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had a play at home, but you're exactly right. He looked up to see where Seager was, and when he did that, he tried to barehand the ball, and he missed it.
So a single and error. The error on Gerardo Parra. Here's Cody Bellinger as the 9th man to bat. First, there is a meeting on the mound. Steve Foster, the pitching coach for the Rockies.
Interesting watching this inning with Iannetta, what he's calling. He's calling everything. He's calling his curve, a couple of sliders. Tried the changeup. He's tried the fastball. He's got no command of any of those pitches, any of those 4 pitches.
And I just wonder, we talked about this on Friday, there are some games that pitchers will take the mound just like hitters will go to home plate. We'll say, look, today I'm going to work on this, and basically this alone. Well, you've got to come up with other pitches, but is today the day to work on breaking stuff for Marquez? If it is, it has not been successful to this point. Bellinger struck out swinging his first time up, trying to pick up yet another run. It's 5-0 Dodgers. The ball is inside, a ball 1 for Cody, the National League Rookie of the Year. In fact, you start to look at Bellinger, the 21 home runs he had last year, the fewest number of games of any rookie ever. 51 games. He had the 21 home runs. He joined Albert Pujols as the only players 21 years of age or younger to reach 20+ home runs. So he reached the 21 home run mark faster, the fewer games than any other player ever. He didn't stop at 21. He continued to go on. Gets underneath this one, just missed it, as hitters will say. Waiting for Blackman, and that will bring the curtain down. But 5 runs come across. On 5 hits, there was an error and a runner left on base. Good inning for the Dodgers. Hyun-Jin Ryu will try and have a good second inning as well through an inning and a half. 5-0 Dodgers. MLB at bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and more. Just download MLB at bat. Do it right now. It's your #1 Dodger app. That, by the way, that we take around with us Sure do. We were both looking at it last night, the Dodgers and the Cubs.
Yep.
First pitch to Trevor Story is outside. They just missed 1-0.
Yeah, they weren't putting Dodger games on in our hotel rooms here in Arizona.
Hyun-Jin Ryu again, just 7 pitches in that first inning, 5 of which were strikes. Delivers outside at 2 balls and no strikes to Trevor Story. Hit .239 last year, but he's got power. 24 home runs, 82 RBIs. Also, if you look at it, 32 doubles, 3 triples. Fouled it back in the count now 2-1. And Story's having an absolutely monstrous spring training. How about 471 with 4 doubles and 2 triples this spring? Yes, if you look at Coors Field, I've always said that's kind of a breeding ground for extra base hits anyway.
No doubt.
Sheer volume, and then you add the elevation. 2-1 delivery by Rio's way outside, back into by Grandal. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, Story's only issue is he strikes out a ton. It's either usually a home run or a strikeout.
Well, he's played 242 major league games, 51 home runs, but he has struck out over 34% of every time that he goes to home plate. Not here, however. Fly ball to center. Taylor broke back, comes back in, and that's the first out here in the second.
First baseman,
Ian Desmond hit .274 last year, signed a 5-year deal. The .274, that was in 339 at bats. So off to a very slow start. He's 1 for 19 with 8 strikeouts here in the spring.
Also, Rick, with Carlos Gonzalez now re-signed.
As Rio delivers, a drive into center field, and Chris Taylor comes on in a hurry and makes the catch. Excellent jump by Taylor, 2 down.
The defense perfectly. 5 balls have been hit pretty hard, but Ryu's got 5 outs. Good defense by the Dodgers. Desmond looks like he's the first baseman now with Mark Reynolds gone, because he's got Parra back healthy now, and Carlos Gonzalez is back. So you're looking at Dahl, who's had a good spring. They want to see him get a lot of at-bats, and of course we know who's in center, and Charlie Blackmon. So Desmond's going to get a share of the load at first base this year.
Gerardo Parra, left-handed hitter, playing in left field. We mentioned earlier this is his first game that he's played in spring. Always had at bats. He may have played in 1 camp game. Takes the ball 1-0, but had surgery before coming to spring training to remove a broken bone, a chipped bone in his right hand, the hamate bone at the outside of your hand where it goes to the wrist area. An injury that we're actually seeing more and more often. The 1-1 on the way. Taken inside. 2 balls and a strike. If Parra gets aboard, Chris Iannetta returned to the Rockies on deck.
A lot of guys get that broken hamate because they wrap their little finger around the knob of the bat at the end. I noticed that Parra's not doing that now. Very slightly choked up.
Left-handed batter. Here's Ryu's pitch. It's fouled off, and the count goes to 2-2. For the Rockies last year, they were 87-75. But again, it was a year of a different team at home versus on the road. At home as a team collectively, they hit .298. On the road, .248. And over 150 fewer runs scored on the road. 2-2 on the way is outside and high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So they scored 488 runs at home at Coors Field. On the road, 336. Their earned run average was higher at home. Extra base hits galore, 4.93 compared to just over, barely over 4 on the road. Payoff pitch on the way, and it's outside, and the Rockies' first man to reach base off of Hyun-Jin Ryu today.
Now there's a lefty that got on base. He's faced 2 lefties. Blackmon lined out hard in his at bat, and Parra now walks.
And Kevin, that's the kind of a story about Hyun-Jin Ryu. If we look at last year, lefties hit .326 against him and right-handers just a .240 average. You would imagine that would be the opposite direction, but not last year.
Yeah, and the reason is because he throws that changeup to right-handers and he doesn't throw it to lefties.
Iannetta takes the first pitch high, ball one. For Iannetta, .254 last year. With the Diamondbacks with 17 home runs. He's 3 for 11, a couple of hit out of the ballpark this spring.
Some left-handed pitchers that have great changeups will not throw one of their best pitches to left-handed hitters.
1-0. Well, if you look at Dodger history, Fernando Valenzuela had the screwball that was at times unhittable by right-handed batters.
That's right.
He did not throw it to lefties.
No.
Think back to years and years prior. Mike Cuellar with the Baltimore Orioles would never throw it to a lefty.
Same thing.
The screwball.
Yeah.
There's a strike 1 and 2 now to Chris Iannetta.
Rick, you were a left-handed hitter. Did you see the changeup better off of lefties? Did it matter?
Well, with some lefties, you were hoping that they would throw maybe a changeup instead of that sweeping breaking ball.
Yeah.
Felt like you needed a tennis racket to reach out and hit. 1-2 delivery. It's very high as Rio overthrew that fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down, runner at first. 5-0 Dodgers here in the bottom of the second inning.
You know, Jamie Moyer, I had Jamie Moyer in Boston for 1 year, and he had to throw his changeup to lefties. He threw it to both righties and lefties. Now, he didn't throw hard. He threw 87 miles an hour, and he wouldn't have survived if he just threw it to one batter.
2-2, and that ball is hit hard. It is hit deep. Kent going back, and it is out of here. So Iannetta comes back over 17 home runs a season ago with the Diamondbacks. He hits his 3rd of the spring. And for Iannetta, his return, again, he had been with the Rockies 2011 before he left, and he is welcomed back with high fives and open arms.
That's what he did with the Diamondbacks last year. Hit a lot of clutch home runs. That was a fastball supposed to be down and away. It was right down the middle, and like batting practice, Iannetta drove it out of the ballpark.
So Ryu runs into a buzzsaw swing of Iannetta. Now it's 5-2 Dodgers. David Dole, another left-handed batter, flinches on a curveball that's inside, ball 1.
It's the thing about the Rockies. They might be down 5 runs early, but they can put up some crooked numbers early with the long ball. They get a couple men on and 2 or 3 run home run.
Well, Dole's also hit 3 home runs as Iannetta now has cashed in 3. There's a strike, 1-1. Dole 8 for 38 this spring. They have purposely played him a lot already with 38 at bats.
Sure have.
1 ball and 1 strike. Rio into the windup. And the pitch, breaking balls pulled foul just past Tony Diaz. The first base coach, Stu Cole, coaching over 3rd for Buddy Black's Colorado Rockies. Rockies at home last year were 46-35. On the road, they were 1 game above 500, 41-40. They wound up going to the 1-game playoff and lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks in the wild card matchup. 1-2 delivery. Sweeps just outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There's that slider you were talking about that left-handers don't like to see, and Dahl was able to hold up.
And you see a lot of lefties, as we just saw Dahl. They bend at the knees. Your backside is going in
out.
One direction. The pitch is going the other side.
The wrong way. That's
Here's
right.
the 2-2, and it's slug on and hit late foul down the left field line and up into the crowd.
That was a fastball. Dahl was late on it. He wasn't sure what he was going to get. I think he was thinking he was going to get another slider.
He was still looking for a slider.
Sure was.
And the pitch on the way. Well, there's the breaking ball. Yep. Flex at the knees. The back end is going the opposite direction, and David Dahl now is going the opposite direction to pick up the glove. 2-out walk and a home run by Chris Iannetta. The Rockies get on the board. 2 runs, a hit, and nobody left through 2 full in Scottsdale. It's the Dodgers leading the Rockies 5-2.
Dodgers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Dodgers.
Rick Money and Kevin Kennedy on this simulcast, both radio and at television. From Scottsdale, the east side of Scottsdale. Dodgers leading the Rockies 5-2, and here in the third, Matt Kemp, Yasiel Puig, and Yasmani Grandal. Joining us late, Dodgers 5 runs on 5 hits in the second, as they sent 9 men to home plate. And it was Kemp that started off that inning with a single line drive up the middle to center field. Takes a strike, 0-1. Happy to have you with us, and happy that Kevin Kennedy could finally get into the ballpark this morning.
You're going to tell that story. I knew it was coming.
The 1-0. Breaking ball away, and it's fouled off 0-1. When we arrived this morning, come through the gates. At least I did. And they told
you
Mr.
got through
Kennedy,
easily.
you cannot come in. So we waited and waited and waited. You had to call the Dodgers over at Camelback Ranch, Glendale, to send out an APB as it was okay to come in. Kemp takes outside 1-2.
Maybe it was the mustache. I don't know. I had a blue shirt on.
We could not see through the darkened window. Foul straight back, 1-2. I don't know if there was a poster with your picture on it or not.
They only
the lady said, hey, you seem like a nice guy, but you can't come in right now.
They only do that in Mayberry. They don't do that anymore, do they? The post office.
1-2 delivery. A check swing and a foul. Well, there are many of the people we've seen in Dodger uniforms are not here today because the Dodgers, who arrived in spring training with 60 players, they made roster cuts after last night's victory, the walk-off victory against the Cubs. They cut the roster by 20 players. 1-2. Kemp takes that one outside, 2-2, and he thought it was strike 3. So did Marquez.
Yes, he did. So did Iannetta.
The governor did call.
Yes, he did. Reprieve. Good curveball. Good overhand curve. Iannetta just did bring it back. He really didn't need to.
And it's spring training, but Adrian Johnson's hearing it from Buddy Black and his coaching staff that are in the folding chairs on the near end, just outside the Rockies dugout. Wouldn't you know it? There's a pitch that is maybe missed, and the governor did call for Matt Kemp. He thought he was struck out on the preceding pitch. So did Herman Marquez. So did the manager of the Rockies, Buddy Black. But for Matt Kemp, he gets another swing, and he hits the home run. And for Matt Kemp, his 4th of the spring, it's 6-2 Dodgers.
He is having a great spring. He came back, I believe, with the same pitch. The curveball sure was. This one was a hanger. There's the difference. Now, Matt hit a high fastball in his first at-bat, rocketed a base hit to left center. And this time he gets a high hanging curveball and he hits it out. That's what good hitters are supposed to do, is hit mistakes.
Well, how many times have you seen that where there's a controversial call on a pitch or a play, and the batter gets yet another swing, and Kemp got one to his liking, got a hanger, and he hits it out for a home run. His 4th of the spring. Here's Puig, takes just outside, ball 1.
Many times seen that.
Breaking ball inside on the corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Rick, you mentioned something last inning that's interesting and should be talked about a little bit. What are pitchers trying to work on at this point of the spring? It's clear for Marquez, it's his curveball, it's breaking stuff.
1-1's outside, 2 balls and a strike to Puig. Yasmani Grandal on deck.
Because he's only pitched coming into this game 5 innings in A games. And he could get by with his fastball for a while.
Gets by with a fastball there. It jams Puig. Slow roller down to second base, and that is the first out of the top of the 3rd inning. By the way, the trip around the diamond, the home run by Matt Kemp, is sponsored by Daniel's Jewelers. For every home run, Daniel's Jewelers will give you a $50 gift card. Now just go to danielsjewelers.com/LA to claim. For every redemption, Daniels makes a $50 donation to Jewelers for Children. Daniel's Jewelers, making diamond dreams come true since 1948. Grandal singled in a run and scored his first at bat of the ball game. Likes it so well, he gets a base hit. First pitch thrown to him here in the 3rd. So Grandal's bat had been somewhat quiet. It has awakened, and much to the delight of Grandal and to the Dodgers.
Yeah, Iannetta doubled up on that sequence right there. A couple of two-seamers down and away, and the second one was it left out over the plate. So a lot of mistakes on secondary pitches today from Marquez, but clearly he knows I've got to have those pitches against the Dodgers. I can't just throw the fastball because they crush fastballs.
Kike Hernandez takes first pitch outside. Kike walked and scored in the second inning. Again, he's 5 for 19 this spring. Marquez is labored now. Delivers. That's high. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, you'd rather make mistakes here. If you're Buddy Black, you'll take it. You'll understand that he's got to get the command of his secondary stuff.
Infield slighted a pull. Grandal leads off at first, and for Hernandez takes ball 3, 3-0.
But he's not finishing off his pitches. He looks tired to me. He's not bending his back, getting over the front leg. Technical terms, but if the mechanics go.
Well, he's set and he delivers, and that's on the outside corner. 3 balls and a strike. You made an observation right before this inning started. You said, oh, you thought that was a different pitcher on the mound because Germán Marquez, you said, looked thinner.
He did.
That's because he labored in the second inning.
He lost 10 pounds in the second inning.
He's doing a disappearing act during the game.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, now there's a pitcher up in the bullpen for the Rockies, and there has to be because he's got 65 pitches. And what you try to do leading up to your first start in the regular season is at least have 90 to 95 pitches in your starts down here in spring training.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Grandal over first, not going on the pitch, and it's wrapped into left field, right in the hole, and a base hit. Outfielders may be saying, hey, wait a minute, walk somebody so we can catch our breath.
Well, it gets to a point. There's one thing about pitch count, but it gets to a point where you're not gaining anything by leaving him out there, even though you want to see the pitch count get up there because he's laboring, he's tired, and he just hung another breaking ball.
Well, Steve Foster, the pitching coach, making his second trip of the game. The home plate umpires that we're seeing busily writing on their lineup card to keep track. Something that during the season we will be looking at. You're allowed 6 trips to the mound where you are not taking the pitcher out. And then if it goes extra innings, you're allowed 1 trip per inning. So this is the second trip. Top of the third, by the way, brought to you by Cedars Sinai. Curlin Job Institute, team doctors of the LA Dodgers. It's simply stated from the medical end of it. Talk about setting the standards. Doctors Curlin and Job.
No doubt about that.
Dr. Robert Curlin and Dr. Frank Job, who were more than just the orthopedic surgeons of the Dodgers. They were friends and responsible for keeping players on the field. And 2 nice gentlemen that we lost way too soon. 2 on, 1 out. Here Jake Peter struck out his first time up on a 2-2 changeup. Fouls this one off and the count 0-1. Grandal at second. Hernandez over at first. Ball hit to the outfield for a base hit. Kike Hernandez is going to have to keep his eyes peeled on Grandal, who's not as speedy of a runner. 0-1. Peter drives it to center field. Coming on. Charlie Blackmon under makes the catch, and everybody will hold. Let's pause here. 10 seconds for station identification on the Dodgers Radio Network. Busy afternoon for Dodger hitters. Here's the leadoff man, Chris Taylor. We're in the 3rd inning. He's coming on to bat for the 3rd time. 6-2 Dodgers here in the 3rd. Taylor trying to pick up at least another run. Corey Seager waiting on deck. Taylor is 0 for 2. He's knocked in 1 run. Swinging a missed fastball upstairs. No balls and a strike. Chris Taylor, this time last year, he was fighting to just stay with the big league club to close out spring training. 0-1 pitch. That's taken for a strike. 0-2. Had a very good spring. And not playing in center field. I remember the game that he played in center defensively last spring. Anyway, I think it was either the first or second batter that came up. Hit a ball to left center field. He went back and he proved, at least to me, that he could play center field. And boy, he has lived up to that.
And you were a great defensive center fielder, so you know.
0-2. Line drive, long fly ball, and that's going to go against the wall and a hop. Grandal will score. Hernandez will score, and the third RBI for Chris Taylor. The Dodgers stretch out the lead 8-2. And for the Rockies outfielders, they're going to need oxygen soon.
That was just a nice fluid swing. Another hanging breaking ball middle away. And Chris went right with it. Short hops the fence in right center, and that's going to be it for Marquez.
Well, the outfielders may be saying, where have you been, Buddy Black? They could have used him sooner. So Marquez spent a lot of time backing up bases. And not exactly what the young man who spent his rookie year last year going 11-7 in 29 starts was hoping for this afternoon. The pitching change here in Scottsdale. Dodgers have a commanding lead. Back with more. Corey Seager coming up to bat after this. Corey Seager, the batter, and he'll face another right-hander, Austin House. He's out of Albuquerque, originally drafted by the A's out of University of New Mexico. Still trying to make it to the big league level. And the PCL last year in 49 games. Austin House was 8-2. So the big right-hander delivers, and that's outside on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Good changeup right there. That's his best pitch. He's got a fastball anywhere from 92 to 94. Also got a sinker. They throw in the high 80s. A little bit of a slurby slider and a pretty good changeup.
Ground ball hit to the right side. This should do it. LeMahieu to first. And House comes in and cleans house after a rugged outing by Armand Marquez. For the Dodgers, they put up some more runs on the board. And through 2.5 innings, that scoreboard is 8-2 Los Angeles.
Today's the day.
Dodgers early goings lead the Rockies 8-2. And for Hyun-Jin Ryu, again, this is his first spring training outing in the A games. And working into the 3rd inning, he's given up 2 runs. Just 1 hit. That was a 2-run blast by Chris Iannetta, hit out of the ballpark after a 2-out walk to the preceding batter, Gerardo Parra. Noel Cuevas is the hitter. Designated hitter, right-handed batter. Cuevas out of Puerto Rico, 6'2", 210. And originally signed by the Dodgers 8 years ago. Takes outside, ball 2, 2-0. So the Rockies claimed 4 years ago Cuevas from the Dodgers. Little ground ball hit wide of third base, foul. Picked up by Stu Cole, tosses a souvenir into the crowd. 2 balls and a strike. Cuevas will get a new, fresh piece of lumber.
Had a good year in AAA last year. Albuquerque, former AAA home of the Dodgers. He had .312. He scored 79 runs, 79 RBIs, hit 15 home runs. Played in 128 games.
Well, he has played, and this is not the good thing. He has played 622 games at the minor league level. Has some speed. A little bit of power. Here's Rio, the 2-1 on the way. Through the wickets of Yasmani Grandal, 3 balls and a strike. Leadoff man Charlie Blackmon on deck.
600+ games in the minors, so maybe if you started most of those, you're looking at well over 2,000 at bats. It used to be many years ago. It's, you need 1,000 plate appearances before you get to the big leagues.
200.
He's done that.
2,269 to be exact.
That was my guess. Thank
Here's
you.
a 3-1 for the call strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's a lot of not so much bus trips anymore. To AAA, you got some flights to take.
Yeah, and Albuquerque get those 7 a.m. flights on game day.
Payoff pitch, hit foul, and we'll do it again. The Dodgers protective railing in front of their dugout, the camera well. Dodgers in the 3rd base dugout. The Rockies over in the 1st base dugout. Again, the Rockies share this facility with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cuevas. He has moved around a bit and tried to move up to the big league level. 7 for 21 this spring with 4 RBIs. Fly ball, right field. And the ball does not travel as much here, although dimensions are somewhat sizable. In fact, down both lines here is 345. It is 390, the deepest part of left center and right center, then 410 feet to straightaway center.
Yasiel Puig had a good jump on that right away. Good read on that. No problem. You could hear right up here in the booth and maybe over the air Chris Taylor yelling. And Puig communicating that Puig had it.
So here's Chuck Nasty. No, that's his nickname. Talking about Charlie Blackmon. A lot of pitchers would call him that because it's interesting that Blackmon, who takes outside ball 1, 331 average to lead the National League, 37 home runs, 104 RBIs. He had 35 doubles, 14 triples, and on top of it 14 stolen bases. Then there's the defensive part and the base running part. I mean, he has just been a solid player. Check swing and the ball's outside 2-0. Buddy Black had talked about coming into spring training about maybe moving Blackmon to a different spot in the lineup instead of a leadoff hitter. Rio delivers, and that's up high. 3 balls and no strikes. Rockies, by the way, just re-signing Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez has not joined them, at least in uniform, yet. They've got the contract signed with the caveat he's still going through some physicals. They don't expect any surprises there. He's had injuries. Strike in 3-1 now to Blackman. DJ LeMahieu's on deck.
Well, that would change Buddy Black's thoughts, Rick, on moving Blackman, probably. A left-handed power hitter that they know well, Carlos Gonzalez. That changes the dynamics of your lineup.
Ryu, the 3-1. Fouled back to the count, full 3-2.
The other thing about Blackman is when he gets on, he steals a base as well.
What are the Rockies going to be doing? They've got Parra in left field today. You got Ian Desmond at first base. They've got another youngster by the name of Ryan McMahon, who's just 23 years of age. And he can really play the game of baseball. So McMahon, he's probably not far off from
he's having a good spring.
That position. There's 3-2 and a breaking ball that's taken for a strike. So for Charlie Blackman, you start to look at all the things that he had and all those numbers. I mean, the batting average at .331, 37 home runs, 104 RBIs, and yet he was 5th in the National League MVP voting. Stanton with the Marlins had 302 votes. Then Joey Votto, 300 votes for the Reds. Goldschmidt, and then the guy on deck, Nolan Arenado, was 4th. Blackman 5th in the voting. There's LeMahieu, takes a strike 1-1. LeMahieu has been just really a marvelous hitter when it comes to making contact in his career. And again, with the 34, just over 34% of all of the balls hit, over 38%, excuse me, to right field. They continue to load up the right side. Swing and a miss. The count quickly 0-2.
And in the infield, the Dodgers have to play him straight up, because he will pull the ball if you pitch him in, even though Turner is wide at third base. But there's no overshift is what I'm saying. In the outfield, of course, you're going to play him to right center.
The 0-2 deliveries, a breaking ball in the dirt. Well, we were talking before the game is that, the Rockies are going to have some big decisions coming up.
They sure are.
With Blackman, with LeMahieu, with Arenado, and we're talking about the decisions because the length of their contracts. Well, they went out and spent over $100 million for the next 3 years with bullpen pieces. But what about the big three in their lineup? How long will they retain them? 1-2 pitch is fouled off and out of play.
Well, they've got such a nice core offensively. That's one of the reasons Carlos Gonzalez came back here. He didn't have an opportunity for a multi-year deal, a big multi-year deal with anybody else, but he had one-year deals on the table, but he wanted to come back to Colorado. Makes sense.
And so all those free agents have come back and signed one-year deals with incentives.
Yeah.
1-2 delivery. Way outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Lance Lynn last night signed with Minnesota. One-year deal. So there's another 2 pitchers out there, Arrieta and Cobb. Alex Cobb.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. 8-2 Dodgers were in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hyun-Jin Ryu in his first spring start delivers a little pop-up that will drop on the warning track and go into the stands. Now there is a report that's coming on that was released about a half hour ago that Jake Arrieta has signed with the Phillies a multi-year deal.
Yeah, that was rumored. I saw that last night. So that sounds like it's done.
Well, Bob Nightingale of the USA Today is reporting that they have agreed in principle what is pending a physical.
Well, that will give them a veteran starter, which is what they need. They've got a pretty good core of young offensive players in that lineup. Of course, Gabe Kapler leaving the Dodgers. Now managing there.
32. He was 14-10 last year. Ryu moves the count full. LeMahieu waits and the payoff pitch. Line drive single up the middle. Well, it's really hard to get around this threesome without one of them getting on base or doing some damage. Blackman, LeMahieu, and now Arenado.
You're right. He fouled off a couple of good curveballs, and then he got a fastball right down the middle and hit a bullet right up the middle. And you really, as I said on him, you can't shift on him up the middle defensively, because if you open up that hole on the right side or the left side, he's got bat bat control. We'll get a base hit through one of the sides. So up the middle was wide open, and that's where he hit it.
So Arenado is out of Newport Beach. No surprise to a lot of scouts what he was able to do.
Oh my, unbelievable.
Grew up in Lake Forest, but he hit safely in 27 of his 28 high school games as a senior. Hit .529. That was just the start. Takes the first pitch out low. How about the fact that 5 consecutive Gold Gloves?
He's special.
That's not been done by a third baseman at the big league level, coming in right from the get-go your rookie year. He is one of the elite players in baseball. The 1-0 pitch. He did not get cheated. Swing and a miss, and the count now 1-1.
That's why it's going to be tough for Colorado, because LeMahieu, Blackman, and Arenado are coming up in a year all at the same time for free agency.
Arenado 37 home runs, 130 runs batted in last year. Year before, hit 41 home runs, knocked in 133. The year before that, 2015, hit 42 home runs, 130 runs batted in. When you begin to look at elite players, and Arenado is one of the elite because he adds the offense but also the defense, with 5 consecutive Gold Gloves to start his career. Takes just outside. 3 balls and a strike.
Plays every day, plays hard. He's into every pitch, doesn't take a pitch off, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, by not taking a pitch off, it's like he does not phone it in.
Ryan Spielborg's former Rocky, who's now a broadcaster for Colorado, told me last year he enjoys playing defense as much as he does offense, and it's obvious the way he plays.
Well, he should wear a mask defensively. There's outside ball 4. When I say a mask, I'm not talking about a catcher's mask. He should wear a robber's mask, because he robs hitters of base hits. So that's going to be all for Rio again, his first outing. So here in the inning, he's gone 3-2, or 3-ball count to 2 of the 3 batters. So he has made a number of pitches here in the 3rd inning. That's going to be it for the left-hander. It's a nice round of applause for some of the Dodger fans to show up here for this afternoon's game. We are going to the bullpen, and we will go to commercial timeout. It is 8-2 Dodgers, bottom of the 3rd here in Scottsdale. Right-hander Pat Venditti. 6th time we've seen him this spring. Worked against the Indians 4 days ago. 1 run and 2 hits, went an inning and a 3rd. So Venditti comes on. It's out of Omaha. Originally he had signed with the Yankees out of Creighton. So he has been at the big league level with the A's and the Blue Jays, the Mariners. And last year in 52 games at AAA, right-hander was 9-5. So he takes over for Hyun-Jin Ryu, who goes 2 2/3. For Ryu, a couple of runs, 2 hits. Runners on base would also be his responsibility. Trevor Story is the batter. Takes outside, ball 1. Story flied to center his first time up. Big sweeping curveball that drops in. Called strike 1-1.
Yeah, Venditti throws both right-handed and left-handed, and for people wondering what the rule is now, the rule is the pitcher must indicate if he's facing a switch hitter, for example, which way he's going to throw from, not the batter.
1-1 pitch. Spinning breaking ball way out in front. It was Venditti's father who began working with him and being ambidextrous, building up the muscles in his, not only his right arm, whereas his natural throwing, but also in his left arm. Venditti, as a kid growing up, he was obsessed by the game of baseball. Ball outside at 2-2. Well, he grew up in a pretty good situation, so his dad encouraged him to be ambidextrous, and his dad was a catcher. In fact, he used to play, his dad did, in an organized league until 3 years ago. Fly ball, shallow left center, and that's going to drop in. Diving attempt by Kemp, and both runs are coming in, and they will score. Really impossible play. Matt Kemp gave it everything that he had trying to catch it, and then it's scooted past center fielder Chris Taylor. And for the Rockies, come up with 2 runs. It's now 8-4 and a bloop double off the bat of Trevor Story.
Yeah, Kemp gave it a great effort. Both he and Taylor. Taylor had to pull up, and once the ball skipped past Kemp, it took a big hop. Taylor tried to barehand it. It went over his and past his bare hand, so I don't believe there's any error involved there.
2-run bloop double by Story. Ian Desmond lined out to center field today. He's 0 for 1.
This is acting like a true Rocky game, like we're in Colorado. 12 runs already.
Desmond takes a breaking ball outside. Ian Desmond's kind of an interesting story when you look. First of all, signed a 5-year deal, but then you begin to look at Desmond, what he has done. He has averaged 22 home runs and averaged 78 runs batted in for 5 consecutive years prior to last year that he had injuries. Right-handed batter. The 1-0 is fouled back and out of play. So the Rockies hoping he will rebound from a disappointing season last year and go back to what he did. Pretty good track record when you go back to 5 years prior to that.
Yeah, it took him a while to get a long-term contract too when he left the Nationals. Did a good job with the Nationals, found a home here, but also Mark Reynolds was playing first base here, and Mark did a great job. Had big at-bats for the Rockies last year.
The 1-1. There's that sidearm breaking ball dropping down a different angle. And a lot of people wondered, why did the Dodgers make that the Rockies? Why did they sign Mark Reynolds last year? And as you were saying, he wound up doing a terrific job for them in their lineup and also at first base.
Sure did. He lengthened their lineup.
1-2. There's the breaking ball again, just missed outside. Well, Venditti will give you different arm angles as well.
Yeah, he was a nice right-handed bat that they needed. They have a lot of lefties, of course. 3 lefties in the outfield that were starters. Just re-signed one of their lefties in Cargo, Carlos Gonzalez. So Desmond becomes a big part of this offense if he can come back and do what you just said, Rick, with the averaging those 20 to 22 home runs a year.
2 balls, 2 strikes, runner at second. Couple of runs in here with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. 8-4. This good crowd's going to see lots of baseball. And there's call strike 3. Desmond was headed to first. He will alter his direction slightly. So then he comes in, gives up the bloop double. It scored 2 runs, and it strikes out the next man. 2 runs, a couple of hits, and 1 runner left on base. Through 3 full innings of play, 8-4 Dodgers lead. 8-4, Dodgers lead it. And leading it off is Justin Turner. Turner, this is the fourth inning. He's already batted twice. He is lined to right field and knocked in a run with an RBI single to left. Austin House in relief of the starter delivers, and that's another base hit for Justin Turner. He is a base hit machine. He's hit the ball hard all 3 times today.
Well, the league tries to get in on him with fastballs, and he doesn't have really many holes in his swing at all. If you get him once in a while and a fastball up and in, you're really fortunate. But a lot of times pitchers make mistakes, and that's when Justin goes deep. That one he just turned on. Line drive single. Hard.
Cody Bellinger coming on and takes outside 1-0. You begin to look at the younger players in this Dodgers organization. Oh, we've been hearing about Corey Seager. We've been hearing about Cody Bellinger, and then you see them. Boy, what an impact they each have made. Seager starting his 3rd year already, and for Cody Bellinger, his 2nd year. Although when he came up much sooner than expected. 2 balls and no strikes. The left-handed hitting Dodger first baseman. Shift is on. House delivers, and it's outside corner for a strike. 2-1. Bellinger at times, when you add the combination of a very upright stance, the bat angle, which is really parallel to the ground to begin with, as the ground balls hit foul on the first baseline. And then the other thing, you look at the distance that the barrel of his bat has to travel because of the angle of the bat that he holds it, and it goes all the way around through the hitting zone, over the first base foul line, and all the way back behind him. I mean, it's amazing the flexibility that he has in order to have that full swing.
Yeah, and he doesn't get cheated at all.
2-2 is outside the count, full 3-2.
He's interesting. When he would get 2 strikes down 0-2 or 1-2 last year, you would see him sometimes just flip that ball to left field, hands only, because the bottom half was gone.
Turner not going, and they change speeds, and it's a foul tip, which only if it goes off the bat and directly into the catcher's mitt.
That was the big swing right there. Lower half was completely gone, open, and a big swing and a miss.
You know what we've seen so far in spring, and again, this is spring training. We've seen a lot of 2 strikes, whether it be 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, and in this case 3-2. Off-speed pitches as Kemp takes inside. Kemp, by the way, be joining us late. Singled in the 2nd inning to lead off that inning. 9 Dodgers would bat, and when the dust settled, there was 5 runs across on 5 hits, and Kemp also a home run to lead off the 3rd, and that was after the governor called. Swing and a miss, 0-1. You're wondering what we mean by the governor called? Well, it was on a 2-2 pitch that the Rockies and their starter German Marquez and their manager Buddy Black thought was strike 3. Well, Kemp got another pitch, and yep, it was a home run down the left field line on a hanging curveball.
And he got
governor indeed called.
He got the same pitch, the curveball that he thought was a strike. Iannetta did, Marquez did, Buddy Black did, the umpire did not, and so Iannetta called it again, but Kemp was looking for it and got a hanger.
1-1. Swung on and missed, 1-2.
It's an interesting point you brought up about the off-speed pitches this year.
But we've seen him in particular to Corey Seager and to Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger, yeah. Well, those are 2 great young players in the league. Didn't figure him out.
Ground ball just foul. Hit hard down the 3rd base line. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, if you go by analytics, and you don't even have to go by analytics, you can see it with the eye test that Seager jumps on the first pitch fastball. You don't have to look at numbers to see that. The numbers will help back you up on that.
And how many first pitch fastballs will he get to hit this year after he has absolutely annihilated pitching in 2 years? Kemp's so strong. He fights it off. That pitch was inside. Winds up with a base hit. He's a perfect 3 for 3 this afternoon. The first 2 were hit like rockets. This one, he just used brute strength to keep it out of his kitchen.
Sure did. Iannetta setting up inside. Ball didn't get in enough, but Matt brought his hands in and shortened up a little bit and got enough of the barrel of the bat to drop it into left field.
Puig coming on with first and second, 1 out here in the 4th inning. 8-4 Dodgers. They've gotten there on 11 hits already. Rockies 4 runs, 3 hits. Puig takes outside the first pitch, 1-0. Austin House taking over in relief. Came on to get the final out in the 3rd inning. He's given up 2 hits to the 3 batters here in the 4th. Right-hander set, delivers. Puig takes that one outside, smothered by Iannetta. Well, Dodgers are in pretty good hands today. Not only with Dave Roberts at the helm in their third base dugout, but just for backup support, Hall of Fame manager Tommy Lasorda also present in the first row right behind the on-deck circle. Here's the pitch, and Turner takes off, and he steals third base. I mean, he stole third, and there was no throw at all. Having to hold on at first was Matt Kemp. That was stolen off of House, and Turner, perfect timing.
Turner's great at that during the regular season. He'll pick his spots. He's on his own, and if they don't pay attention to him, he'll steal a handful of bases. That's what he did right there. Kemp decided, looking at Turner, he didn't have a big enough jump, and Iannetta was going to throw to second base. He was never going to throw to third base.
Swing and a miss, or make that a swing and a foul. 3-1 to Yasiel Puig, who has doubled in a run in the second. He also grounded out to second base in the 3rd inning. Puig now with 3 RBIs. As a hitter, he is 8 for 25 this spring. Grandol's on deck. And a breaking ball outside corner to Puig to count full 3-2.
It's interesting because the Dodgers haven't stolen many bases, as you mentioned earlier in the game, Rick, and the Rockies down here in Arizona, they lead the Cactus League with 19 stolen bases.
Payoff pitch. Kemp is not going for first, and the pitch is up and in, and the bases will be loaded for Yasmani Grandal. With Turner, that stolen base, that was just the 4th this spring by the Dodgers. For House, the first walk that he has issued. Here's Grandal, who's 2 for 2, has had a good afternoon, and both times he's hit the first pitch. RBI single to center in the second, and the first pitch, an RBI single to third, and make that to center in the 3rd inning. He's also scored a couple of runs. Bases loaded here. Grandal, switch hitter, batting from the left side. Runners lead off. House delivers from the stretch. It's inside, ball 1.
Rockies playing the shift on up the middle at short. Trevor Story is on the second base side of second base by about 7 or 8 feet. There's a big hole at shortstop. Nobody's there. Arenado's about 25, 30 feet wide at third and deep.
1-0 pitch taken for a strike. For Grandal last year against lefties, he hit .233, hit .250 against right-handers, and 20 of his 22 home runs were against right-handed pitching. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bases loaded. House set, delivers. Fly ball, left field, hit pretty well. Going back is Parr. He looks up, and it is gone. A grand slam home run for Yasmani Grandal. Grandal is a perfect 3 for 3. The Dodgers now have 11 runs on the board, and Grandal an opposite field grand slam here in the 4th.
Grandal is a very good guest hitter. I've talked to him many times about that. He looks for pitches in certain counts, certain situations. He does that because he catches that way. And he knows the way they've been pitching him today, and that was away. And Iannetta's been staying on the outside corner with 2 seamers. And Grandal went right with it.
So that grand slam, tough act to follow, is Kiki Hernandez, who takes a strike 0-1. Well, pretty good production on the hitting. 12 runs on 12 hits to this Dodger ball club today. 4 runs on 3 hits for the Rockies. This game at a leisurely pace, unless you're an outfielder and you're chasing down all these rockets that have been hit for the Rockies or to the Rockies outfielders. 1-1 pitch to Hernandez. He hits one deep to right field. Backing up is Dolan on the warning track. Makes the catch just to the right of the 390 mark. Well, the Rockies outfielders will be tired when this game is over or when they leave the game itself. By the way, that grand slam, that trip around the diamond, also sponsored by Daniel's Jewelers. For every home run, Daniel's Jewelers will give you a $50 gift card. Just go to danielsjewelers.com/LA to claim it. For every redemption, Daniels makes a $50 donation to Jewelers for Children. Daniel's Jewelers, making diamond dreams come true since 1948. First pitch to Jake Peters. He pulls it, and a base hit through the right side of the infield. And hit parade continues.
Desmond, that fooled Desmond. That ball should have been backhanded by Desmond. He went right to the bag. He was a former shortstop, and he reacted like a guy that never played first base before. He didn't know what to do, and Peters will take the base hit.
In the second inning, the Dodgers sent 9 batters to home plate. They came up with 5 runs. In the third inning, they sent 7 batters to home plate. They came up with 3 runs. And this is the 8th man to bat here in the 4th. And they put 4 runs on the board. Chris Taylor trying to add to it. Swings and fouls it off 1-1.
Yeah, Taylor last year had a lot more hand movement in the setup position. Then he quieted it down. But right now he's more quiet to begin with. Just as aggressive, though, once he goes to swing the bat.
Taylor fouls this one off to the right side and up onto the roof. The count is 0-2. He cooled off a little bit last year after the All-Star break. Hit .285 prior to the break. Actually improved by 3 points afterwards. But he cooled off in September. Hit .214. But what a job that Chris Taylor did. He never gave up on himself. 0-2, line drive, base hit right field. The hit parade continues. That's 13. Make it now 14 for the Dodgers. In the hit parade, here's the 9th man to bat, Corey Seager.
Well, what Taylor gave the Dodgers last year was a great leadoff hitter with power, with extra base power, with home run power, with stolen base ability, and he became a very good center fielder. So he really fit the bill for the Dodgers. They just put his name in the lineup at the top every day. Didn't have to think about it.
2 on, 2 out. Seager is 1 for 2, an RBI double. He's walked and grounded out to second. Came to spring much more relaxed this year. He knew he was not going to play right away, just kind of nursing the elbow. There's Dave Roberts saying nothing structurally wrong with his right throwing elbow that really bothered him last year. So it was really an off-season of therapy. And for Seager, he liked to come to spring training healthy. He has not done that 3 years in a row. Ball outside at 2-0. He took kind of a whimsical reaction when someone said, what would it be like to be healthy in spring training? He says, I'm saving myself some years at the end of my career by not having to play a whole lot of games in spring. He will start at shortstop on Monday. That's tomorrow.
The other part of that, Rick, is that because he's played up the middle with a double play combination with both Forsythe and Utley, that's not an issue. A lot of times if you have a new second baseman and you're the starting shortstop or vice versa, you want to play at least the last 10 days at that position defensively.
2-1 pitch, line drive, base hit right field. On 2 hops coming on. Dahl has it. They're going to send the runner around and down to second. Slides in with the RBI double is Seager. They make the throw over to third, and not able to get back in time is Chris Taylor. Well, it has been a very loud afternoon. If you're Chris Iannetta, the catcher for the Rockies, you might want some earplugs because the Dodgers are lacing up the tennis shoes and they are commenced to hacking and hitting a lot of balls hard. They sent 9 men to home plate. It turns out that 5 of them scored, and through 3.5 innings, 13-4 Dodgers.
Is your
The Dodgers, they came with their hitting shoes on today. They lead at 13-4, and we're just in the bottom of the 4th inning.
They weren't tired from playing last night. Those guys that played last night, a few of them playing here today, and they're all jumping on. They have 15 hits already.
Gerardo Parra starts it off. Pat Venditti's in relief of Hyun-Jin Ryu, and he came in as a right-handed pitcher. Well, now he takes that unorthodox and custom designed glove, puts it on the right hand, and the first pitch as a left-handed pitcher to Gerardo Parra is a strike 0-1. For Parra, this is just his second at bat. The Dodgers, if you look at the top 2 hitters, have been to home plate 4 times. Messrs. Taylor and Seager have batted in the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th inning. 13-4 Dodgers.
They got their work in. The guy that's going to be tired tonight is Chris Iannetta. He's called over 100 pitches today already. A lot of them didn't reach his glove, though.
Well, the Dodgers have some changes that they have made defensively, and one of them took somebody by surprise. Alex Verdugo takes over in left field. Trace Thompson is in center. Andrew Tolles is in right. As the 2-2 is on his way, ground ball right through the wickets. Jake Peters starting at second base. Coming over, Tolles, just mentioned, he's in right field, picks it up. Jake Peters was there. The glove was not, and went right through his legs for an error.
It's a routine ground ball. Hit right at him. Nothing you can say, but he just didn't get the glove. Keep it down.
A couple of other changes. Kyle Farmer takes over at third base, and Donovan Solano is now at shortstop. The surprise player on the field was Yasiel Puig, who began in right field. 1.5 inning was over. As Chris Iannetta steps in, he hit a 2-run home run. His first time up, that was back in the 2nd inning. Takes a breaking ball inside, and now Venditti is pitching right-handed. So he pitched left-handed to Parra, who reached on the air, and now he switches the glove, and he's a right-handed pitcher. How do you do that at the big league level? A swing and a foul, and the bat goes into protected netting just above the Dodger coaches, who are seated between the on-deck circle and their third base dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike.
There's a pitcher with Baltimore that I played with named Sammy Stewart, who we just lost, just passed away. And he could throw both ways. He was a great pitcher for the Orioles. Really pitched in the World Series, scoreless innings, long reliever. But Earl Reaver would not let him pitch left-handed. He had as good an arm left-handed as he did right-handed.
1-1. Breaking ball down low, 2-1.
And I think there was another guy, Harris.
Greg Harris.
Was it Greg Harris that could throw with both hands? Ambidextrous.
2-1 to pitch to Iannetta, breaking ball inside. So going back to Puig, when the half inning was over, Yasiel Puig, who had started in right field, went out to center, and Trace Thompson was in left. And all of a sudden, it was like looking at the old Gong Show. And the vaudeville hook came out, and they said, "The Puig, no, you can come in. Thompson, no, you're not going to left. You're going to center." And Verdugo, by the way, you're in left field.
Well, they have 20 less guys to worry about now.
Yeah, so it means
a lot
we'll
of
only see
bodies.
30 guys.
There's still 40 bodies.
Well, the
up there.
Dodgers came to spring training with 60 players.
That's an awful lot.
So they're down to 40. Skeleton crew. Fly ball to center. Drifting back. Thompson makes the catch. The little things now for Parra at first. Now here's a guy that's been a veteran. I realize this is his first game, so trying to get the feel of it, but that was going to be a routine fly ball. It's 4-10 to straightaway center. The ball's caught right before the warning track, and Parra was 3/4 the way to second base instead of tagging up and going to center.
Yeah, it did make sense. Yeah, even the error he made, he's a very good defensive outfield. He made an error earlier, overrunning the ball and looking for the runner before the ball got to him. ball got past him, so he's a little rough right now.
David Dahl is the hitter, and Venditti goes back to being a left-handed pitcher. Pitches outside 1-0. I mean, it's really interesting to watch. I can understand the switch hitting to swing the bat. The pitching and get to this level.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Ball's outside 2-0. Arizona State. And yes, I'm name dropping, and yes, it's just a few miles away and matriculated there.
It's all good.
The 2-0 pitch, breaking ball, swung on and missed 2-1. They had one of the unusual situations. They had a right-handed quarterback who was a starting quarterback, who was a left-handed pitcher.
Really?
John Torek.
No kidding. He played with you on the team?
Yeah, he was there. Didn't pitch a whole lot, but good quarterback. 2 1s inside, 3 balls and a strike.
Now, why was that?
That was the strangest, and yet he said he felt weird if he threw a baseball right-handed or threw a football left-handed.
Wow, I've never heard of that before.
3-1, driven foul down the right field line, count full 3-2.
It's like golfers, right? Not too many left-handed golf clubs you could buy. Saw a lot of lefties golf right-handed, but
I play right-handed.
You play right-handed, yeah. You're a left-handed hitter, left-handed thrower.
My roommate in college,
yeah,
Ray Stadler, had a set of right-handed clubs. I knew a deal when I saw it. Free. Payoff pitch, a check swing, no swing as they make the peel. Venditti walks a man. Venditti came on, gave up a bloop double to Trevor Story as he came in relief of Hyun-Jin Ryu in the 3rd inning. They got the final out. Here in this inning, Parr reached on an error and a ball hit right through the wickets of Jake Peter at second base. And now the walk to Dahl. 2 on, still 1 out for Noel Cuevas, who's 0 for 1, flied out to right. Right-handed batter. Now Venditti pitches from the right hand. Ground ball, second base. Should be 2. Peter to Solano and over to first, and indeed a double play. Nicely turned in, a 4-6-3 twin killing. No runs, no hits, an error, 1 left through 4 full innings of play. A lot of baseball coming away. It's 13-4, Dodgers lead. Rick Monday along with Kevin Kennedy as we get set to go in this simulcast, both radio and television. Dodgers enjoyed this one to this particular point. 13-4, they lead it, and we will see yet another pitcher for the Rockies. Left-hander Sam Howard comes on. He's out of Marietta, Georgia. He was a 3rd-round pick out of Georgia Southern by the Rockies. 2014. So he continues to really move up the ladder as far as prospects with this Rockies organization. Trace Thompson will start it off, followed by Cody Bellinger. And then we'll see how Dave Roberts maneuvered his lineup card around, because it's not the same exact batting positions for positions filled in for. Swinging a foul off by Thompson. 1 ball and 1 strike. For Trace Thompson, really coming in, I mean, this is going to be a big spring for him for a lot of different reasons. First of all, he's out of options, and decisions have to be made by the Dodgers on what they will do with Trace Thompson. Swings and misses on an elevated fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But for Thompson, holding his own, he's hitting at .333 this spring. Has 1 RBI. But if the Dodgers do not have him on that 25-man roster, as he swings and misses here, goes down on strikes, he would have to be put out on waivers, and other clubs could claim him.
I think a guy like Thompson might be claimed too, based on what he did 2 years ago. 13 home runs in the first half. We talked about this the other day in the game we did, Rick. A couple of home runs that were big game-winning home runs. And play all 3 outfield positions.
Bellinger takes a strike, 0-1 on a check swing. For Cody today, he's one of the few Dodgers that not had a hit. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Every hitter in the order, 1 through 9, has had a hit except Bellinger so far today.
Howard throws 90 to 94 with the fastball. He's got a curveball, slider, and what's considered a really plus changeup.
Lefty into the windup, and it swung on and missed. And Bellinger, the backside was going one way, and the upper body was trying to reach out and grab that breaking ball out away from him. Back-to-back strikeouts by Sam Howard here in relief.
That was his slider. That was a good one right there. Had good depth on it, good tilt.
Kyle Farmer is the batter. Even though the scoreboard says it's Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, they messed us all up here.
We can tell them 100% that is not Alex Verdugo. Farmer takes a strike, right-handed batter. And Howard delivers. There's a drive hit well down the right field line, and coming over the corner is Dahl, and he makes the running catch. Nicely done on the warning track, about 20 feet to the left of the right field foul pole. A reminder also, Chevy Silverado, strong, capable, and built to stand the test of time. The most dependable, long-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And find new roads at your local SoCal Chevy dealer. We head to the bottom of the 5th, 13-4 Dodgers. Dodgers on top 13-4. And some more changes for Dave Roberts' ball club. Before we get to that, on the radio side, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification all along that Dodgers radio network. For the Dodgers, the big right-hander Wilmer Font will take over. For Font, he worked 5 days ago against the Cubs. And his first outing, well, as a young man, you expect he's a hard thrower, but he ran into a buzzsaw really at his own hands, fell behind in counts and got hit. This is for Font his 10th professional season. He's working the top of the order. Blackman is the batter. Missed for the first pitch, the count 1-0, and big right-hander comes right back, misses up and in to Blackman, who's 0 for 2. Blackman, LeMahieu, and then Arenado here in the inning. 13 runs, 15 hits, an error for the Dodgers. 4 runs, just 3 hits, and 1 error for the Rockies. Bottom of the 5th inning. Swinging a foul back. The count is 0-1. To watch Wilmer Font throw, you can see is that, I mean, he is an imposing guy to begin with. 6'4", listed at 265. He's out of Venezuela. So we saw him 3 games at the big league level, the Dodgers, last year. And with the Rangers, a couple of different call-ups, swing and a miss, and a count 2-2. But boy, there's a lot of promise on Wilmer Font. Big, heavy fastball. Had a bone spur in his right elbow and moved about 3 years ago. The 2-2 is upstairs. The count full 3-2. But that's kind of the story, Kevin, of Wilmer Font. He throws hard. There's no question about it. He's got good stuff. No question about that. But at times throws too many pitches.
It's always about command in the big leagues because there's so many pitchers today that throw mid to upper 90s, more so than ever.
Right-hander, the payoff. It's hit a mile into the air, right side. Nick Ahmed just taking over at first base under it and makes the catch. One other change is Rocky Gale is now doing the catching for the Dodgers to relieve Yasmani Grandal. 1 out here in the 5th for DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, Rocky Gale played a long time in the minor leagues, former Padre. Had a stint last year with the Padres, 10 at bats. Got a big league hit.
We talked earlier about the Rockies, and yes, they were one of the wild card teams, losing in that 1-game playoff to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Spot delivers. There's a breaking ball that misses. 1-0 to DJ LeMahieu. But that, as far as the Rockies are concerned, last year was a stepping stone. It was the first time that they had been above 500. They'd had 6 years of under 500 mark. So a renaissance indeed for this ball club.
Well, they went out and got Greg Holland too, coming off of Tommy John surgery, and he did a great job for them, especially in the first half. He slacked off a little bit the second half.
Ball outside, 3 balls, no strikes.
But the Rockies prior to that, several years prior to that, they just didn't have anybody at the back end, especially a closer. So Greg Holland not re-signed. They went out this time and got Wade Davis, the veteran.
2-1. It's popped up in the air. That'll be down below us. You may have heard an applause right before that pitch was made. We mentioned that Tommy Lasorda is here. Well, Tommy is walking up the stairs below us in one section over to our left, and it is amazing everywhere he goes. Talk about a recognizable figure. I got a nice round of applause here in the Valley of the Sun. And boy, we got some sunshine today. Had rain early this morning. 3-1 pitch on the way. It's hit a mile in the air to shallow center. Coming on, Trace Thompson under it, 2 down. Well, Buddy Black did a good job last year. Returns, and again a winning season for this Rockies ball club. Nolan Arenado is the hitter. And for Buddy Black, he had to maneuver his club around. The Rockies used 104 different lineups last year. The most frequent lineup used a maximum of 7 consecutive games. Arenado waits, and the pitch from Font is outside, ball 1. Then you look at the Dodgers side. Talk about holding the reins and tugging and pulling and sometimes giving the players their head, if you will, as you will with horses. The 1-0, big breaking ball, swung on a miss, 1-1. Dave Roberts used 140 different lineups. How many games consecutively did they go with the same lineup? Obviously without the pitcher, a different pitcher. Just 3 times. 3 games.
It's amazing to hear
with
that.
Consecutive lineups for this Dodger ball club.
That means everybody contributed. That's what that means. And they did as a team. They were a true team. Like people kept saying, this team. They were.
Fonset delivers. That's outside, 3-1. So again, he went 3-2 to Blackman before he fouled out. Went 3-0 to LeMahieu, who flying out to shallow center, and he's now gone 3-1 to Nolan Arenado. But those numbers of different lineups, really amazing. 3-1 pitch, swung on a miss, and Arenado loses his helmet, catches it before it hits the ground. Talk about unbutton your shirt, take a good rip. Boy, normal people would be in traction. You swing that hard and miss. 3-2.
He wanted to get into the fun here and hit a long one.
One of the amazing players in baseball, Nolan Arenado. Here comes the payoff pitch and hit off his left foot. The ball wound up down at third base to Kyle Farmer. He will toss it aside. And a souvenir of the Dodger dugout.
That's why he wears that shin guard on the left ankle there. That ball was sinking down and in, and that's what he did. Hit it right off his shin guard.
So Dave Roberts, 162 games during the regular season, 140 different lineups. 3-2 pitch on the way to Arenado is hit foul again down the right field line. So the other thing is, it would advise you as a player when you walk into the locker room with the Dodgers last year, you better check the lineup card.
Don't take it for granted.
Which is a good thing, because every time you come to the ballpark, you figure, hey, look, I have a chance to contribute and help this ball club. Instead of sitting there and wondering, when will I ever get a chance to play?
That is true.
Keep everyone involved. Here's the 3-2 ground ball hit down the left field line. It was a breaking ball, and Arenado will wind up with the double down the line. Fan interference. The ball is called dead. And for Arenado, the first hit that he's had in the afternoon. He's also walked and flied out to right. Derek Hansen will come on and pinch run for Arenado, who completes his afternoon. So a lot of different pitches here in this inning by Wilmer Font. And Arenado, who worked the count 3-2 and fouled off a couple of pitches, winds up with a double. Here's Story. Trevor Story knocked in 2 with a double off of Pat Venditti, who is in relief of Hyun-Jin Ryu in the third inning. He's also flied to center. He's 1 for 2.
I like the way Rocky Gale is setting up back there, working Font. He sits up low. Here's a good full face target with that glove.
Font set. Checks the runner for Arenado at second. Pitch is fouled back and off to our right now to play. So when you look at a catcher, what is it initially that you are looking at?
If he's engaged with energy defensively with the pitcher, that's what I look at. And then I watch the technique first also. And I'm just watching for the first time. I've never seen him before, and he's engaged defensively with Font. He wants to get through this inning, and he's helping. He's thinking all defense, first of all. Then, where he was taught to catch, they've taught him the right way. He sits up very low, which means he can receive the low strike.
1-1 pitch
without movement.
Just outside, 2 balls.
And
that strike.
And Rick, that last pitch was just off the outside corner, but he didn't jerk the ball back in. Because when you jerk the ball back in, you're giving too much movement. You're telling the umpire and everybody in the ballpark it's not a strike. He just received it and gave the umpire a beat by holding it right there. He's a good-looking defensive catcher.
Well, he sits in the outside corner. Here's Font's pitch, and it's way outside. 3 balls and a strike. So 4 batters that Font has faced in this inning, and all 4 batters have had a 3-ball count.
He gives the umpire, when you sit low like that, you give the umpire a really good look at the low pitch, especially.
No one throwing in the bullpen behind Font, who sends and delivers the 3-1 on the way. And it's fouled off the count, 3-2. 2 outs, runner at second. 13-4 Dodgers lead, and we are well past the 2-hour mark. And we're in the bottom of the 5th, at least in innings.
Well, again, I feel like we're in Colorado.
If there was another 5th sitting on the counter, it would be in the bottom of that one, too.
Heard that somewhere.
3-2 pitch is hit back. The great and the late Skip Carey.
That's funny.
Referred to that with the Atlanta Braves. What a funny man. What a great broadcaster.
I want to mention something else about Gale. When he throws the ball back, I look at that too. It's got really good short quick arm action, and he puts something on the ball.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Hansen, a pinch runner, leading off at second. Font's thrown a lot of pitches, and here's another one. And not a bad pitch either. That one tied up Trevor Story inside and jammed him. And quite frankly, we did not see happen too much last year.
If Font could get really good command of his fastball, I mean, he would have been in the big leagues a long time ago permanently.
Well, there is a reason that, and multiple reasons, that he has been around. He first signed in 2006 with the Rangers. Trying to find consistency. There's never been a question about the ability. Swing and a miss. Fastball elevated. So Font throws a lot of pitches. A 2-out double. The Rockies leave a runner in scoring position. We finally head to the 6th inning. 13-4 Dodgers in the Valley of the Sun. We go to the 6th inning, and a chance to remind you can guarantee your tickets for opening day with a 2018 mini plan. Now you can enjoy this season filled with rivalry matchups along with great promotions such as bobblehead, kids giveaway, and Friday night fireworks. Just visit Dodgers.com/mini plans. Andrew Tolles in his first at bat had himself a very good spring, coming off of the ACL surgery on his knee. Fouls it off, and the count now is 0-1.
Just watching him run, Rick, down the line in the few games I've been here this spring, he's running well.
He has not favored
No.
the right leg at all. Slaps one to shortstop. Just in the ball game, Castro, as the Rockies have made a host of changes. There is one down. That put out goes 6-3. So we'll give you some of the other changes, but the good news for Tolles, he's had plenty of time to kind of get ready with the surgically repaired. The ACL is what, and the inside of the joint of the knee is what holds everything from moving around. And not sure if they used his own tissue, a patellar tendon, or if he used a cadaver or a synthetic, but the knee is held up very well indeed. Here's Rocky Gale, took over behind the plate. For Gale, his first at bat. Great afternoon by Yasmani Grandal. As Gale fouls it off, and the count quickly 0-2. Grandal was 3 for 3. He scored 3 runs. He knocked in 4. He had 2 singles, one of which knocked in a run, and a grand slam.
Yeah, 3 hits coming into this game, 3 hits today in succession, and good at bats.
Howard delivers, and that misses to Gale. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alex Verdugo is on deck. He would have his first at bat of the afternoon. A little slow chopper down to third. Going to be trouble. Going to be lots of trouble. And if it stays fair, it'll be as much trouble as you can get. I'm just saying it stayed fair. An infield single off the bat of Rocky Gale.
Hustling right out of the box, too. He knew it. Scrappy catchers.
Alex Verdugo stepping in. Very quickly, here's some of the other changes. In left field, Mike Tauchman. Raimel Tapia is now in center for the Rockies, and Jordan Patterson is over in right field. Ryan McMahon, mentioned him earlier. I'm sure they got a lot of promise for. Verdugo takes a strike 0-1. Daniel Castro is at shortstop. Garrett Hampson in second base. Desmond still at first, and Ionetta still behind home plate at last check.
Yes, he is.
Swing and a miss by Alex Verdugo. Mentioned Verdugo. He's a young man that has all the promise in the world, and the light bulb may have gone on last year. By the light bulb, we're talking about, hey, look, he had always had it kind of easily the first few years in whatever league he was playing in at the minor league level. Swinging a foul, the count 0-2. But that competition gets tougher and tougher. Well, he's gotten tougher. 348 in the spring with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Also has 3 doubles. Verdugo, lefty against lefty. Here's the 0-2, and it's slapped down the left field line. And that's going to be into the crowd. Foul ball.
Got that open stance. Quiet at the plate. Kind of swings that front leg as he approaches the left-handed pitcher right here.
You know, if you had the white high tops like Verdugo has, you'd have been much faster as a runner.
Makes you look faster, doesn't it?
Lightning speed. 0-2 pitch. Foul ball.
And that was a good swing on a fastball in. He didn't swing that leg.
Well, I can tell you that the white shoes do not make you any faster.
You had to wear them for a while, didn't you?
The first one that wore them in the instructional league years and years ago.
Is that right?
Too. Pitch in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Was that Charlie Finley?
Charlie Finley sent a pair of white shoes. This was the year that the franchise had moved 68 from Kansas City to Oakland. Going to open up in Oakland. He sent a pair of white shoes. They were special airmailed. Gentleman picked them up at the airport. Brought to the ballpark. 1-2. Hit foul at home plate. He said, Mr. Finley sent these, and you have to wear them.
No kid. Why?
Well, they was going to the white shoes.
And you were going to be the.
And it was. And it was a kangaroo skin, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, they didn't fit. They were a size too small, and this gentleman said, I'm going to get fired if you don't wear them.
Oh, man.
1-2 pitch. It's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So you were kind of the guinea pig to wear them for the next year. The next year they were going to white shoes next year. Okay.
Yeah. So we actually had to slit shoes here and there. Toes bulging out. Otherwise, this guy was going to get fired.
Nothing worse than not having the right shoe fit as a ball player.
Well, you got hurting puppies. You got problems. 2-2 ground ball. Going to be tough to get 2. They go to short. They get 1. No chance to get the double play. Verdugo runs too well, and that ball was not hit particularly hard. So wore the shoes.
You were fast anyway, though. Did it make you look faster? Did they say?
I don't know. You're not looking at your feet while you're running.
Nobody told you?
No. Jake Peter, who is 1 for 3, getting to start at second base today. Left-handed batter against the left-hander Sam Howard. In relief, he is the 3rd Rockies pitcher used in today's game. First pitch is outside, ball 1.
You were the first player ever drafted. And the first player to wear white shoes.
Well,
basically, I didn't know that.
Well,
the second part. People may not know. You were the would they call it the amateur draft then, or the first-year player draft?
No,
just the draft.
Just call it the draft.
Major League Baseball draft. You were the first player ever drafted.
2-0 to Peter. Yeah, telling him that system would not work.
Who else was in that class behind you? Teammates from Arizona State that year?
Sal Bando was a teammate of mine at Arizona State.
Sal Bando that year. Okay.
Duffy Dyer was a teammate of mine at Arizona State.
Catcher.
Was drafted by the New York Mets.
Wow.
We had off that College World Series winning team.
Yeah, you won it all.
I think a total of either 6 or 7 players.
Wow.
That made it.
Some good careers too.
Peter's swing, and they missed 2-2. Bobby Winkles, who's the manager.
I remember that.
Lives in the Palm Springs area. Two balls and 2 strikes. Fly ball left field, having to shade his eyes from the sun is Tauchman, and they eventually come down. It did. The Dodgers are gone. A base hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. None too soon. 13-4 Dodgers.
Value.
To 4 Dodgers, bottom of the 6th inning. Wilmer Font will start his 2nd inning in relief. Has been Hyun-Jin Ryu. And A good afternoon by Ryu. Went 2 2/3. Gave up a 2-run home run to Chris Iannetta. But for the first outing this spring, Hyun-Jin Ryu in an A game. 2 hits. Charged with the 4 runs. A couple of walks and a couple of strikeouts. And the first pitch by Font to Ian Desmond as a fly ball hit to right field and hit pretty deep, and leaping up and making a nice catch, Andrew Tolles, who timed it perfectly to go up the wall.
Well, he sure did. That ball carried. Fell for the wall like you're taught. Supposed to do. Knew exactly where he was. Knew he was getting close. And what you do, you feel out with your bare hand. Make sure you don't crash into it. As it turns out, it wasn't that close to the wall.
1 out, Ryan McMahon, who the Rockies have really high hopes for what he is going to do in his career. In fact, he was kind of penciled in before they signed Carlos Gonzalez a couple of days ago as maybe making the ball club. Now,
yeah,
he's hit well enough to be there. Left-handed batter. He's just 23 years old. But he's got a lot of promise, and the Rockies really like him. Ryan McMahon. Remember that name. Shows why. Fly ball hit deep to center. And it is off the batter's eye. It's in play. Went over the 410 mark. So we talk about the Rockies are very high on him, and he did not disappoint, did he?
No, he did not. He could play third and first, and that's one of the reasons Mark Reynolds wasn't back. Left-handed hitter. Big extension right there. He went from Double-A Hartford last year, 49 games where he hit 326, to Triple-A Albuquerque. He had 374 and 289 at bats last year with 14 home runs in Albuquerque. 20 home runs overall in the minor leagues.
Well, a double off the center field wall for McMahon. He is at second base as Chris Iannetta has gone the entire way. Talked about some of the young players of this Dodger organization that have been able to show their wares when given the opportunity at the big league level. And there are many that are just waiting for the starting gate to get another call. And McMahon falls in that category for the Rockies.
Well, he's big, a nice left-handed swing, play the corners.
There's a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike to Chris Iannetta, who homered a man aboard. The entire Dodger lineup, 1 through 9, has batted 4 times. This is just the 3rd time for Iannetta, and 7th in the order for Buddy Black this afternoon.
Well, Iannetta only had 11 A games at bats before this. He did have a couple of home runs, and he hit 1 today, so he's got 3. So I'm sure he wanted 3 at bats before he comes out of the game. That's probably the reason he's staying in there defensively to catch 6 innings.
Well, they got a couple of other backup catchers. 2-1, a check swing and no swing, says the first base umpire. 3-1. Tony Walters was doing some catching last year. He's a converted infielder who threw out, by the way, 38% of attempted stolen bases. But Iannetta is going to do the bulk of the catching. Swinging a foul back, the count full, 3-2.
He had a good year with Arizona. It's 17 home runs last year with the D-backs. 17 home runs in 89 games. Only 272 at bats.
So Walters will be going up against another rookie, Tom Murphy, maybe for the backup job behind Iannetta. 3-2 pitch from Font is taken just outside, and Font thought he had strike 3. But again, Kevin, that's a 3-2 count. So a lot of pitches for Font, who is registered in his career 100 miles an hour. Bench runner for Iannetta.
See, those good hitters like McMahon, good young hitter, they can hit the fastball, 98 fastball, and that's what Font throws. I mean, he gets it up there in the upper 90s.
Gibson is running for Iannetta.
There you go. It's time. They're good at bats today for Chris Iannetta. 3 at bats.
Mike Tauchman, his first at bat, left-handed hitter. In the number 8 spot, where David Dahl had been, Dahl walked and struck out. So he was 0 for 1. And now Tuckman. Delivers line drive, and that's snared by Harold Robinson just in the ball game at second base, and an easy double play as Robinson leaped up in the air, caught the ball, and then threw to Donovan Solano, who's taken over at shortstop. So for Wilmer Pond, it still continues as it trying to be efficient with the pitches, but the double play, as Todd was sort of say, the pitcher's best friend. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We go to the 7th, 13-4, Dodgers leading. Good look at opening day is nearly here, and there is a surprise. Surprise is not Solano, who is batting, who takes a strike 0-1. But there's a new addition to the Dodgers promotional schedule. If you're one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance on Friday, March 30th, the game against the Giants, you'll receive a special edition Kirk Gibson bobblehead presented by Bank of America. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Standing line to get that bobblehead, Donovan Solano winds up with a solid single to left center field, and he continues to swing a good bat.
And we got the sacrifice walk-off fly ball win last night, hitting the ball deep enough in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Dodgers came back to beat the Cubs in a night game at Camelback Ranch. For the Cubs, it was a split squad. They had a day and night game.
So the left-hander Sam Howard delivering the pitch to Will Smith in his first at bat.
Edwin Rios was impressive. He got another hit last night to set up the winning run at third base. Looked like Farmer was going to score as the center fielder threw it into the 4th row. Last night, you and I were both watching it.
He made 2 throws
back to back
that could have been put on a string and sold at the county fair.
They were identical, weren't they?
They were both ugly.
One further than the next.
1-1, and Will Smith takes that. You know, I mentioned earlier that you would have been a faster runner had you had high top shoes. And I just noticed you're tying your shoes, your laces.
They're a little bit semi high top. Almost.
Well, you were early when you
nothing.
picked me up this morning, so yeah.
There's nothing that would have helped me, Robert.
There's a strike 2-2.
That's why do you think I went behind the plate when I was 8 years old?
Anthony Boombaum, or Bim Boom.
Bim Boom.
Bim Boom is now the catcher for the Rockies.
Played in Albuquerque last year in 45 games. He got there. Hit .278.
Will Smith takes inside a breaking ball, and the count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 7th inning For the Dodgers, 13 runs, 17 hits, 1 error, 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Rockies. And the Dodgers get to 20 base hits. That's kind of the magical moment where you hear from the crowd. You get 20 hits. Oh, my goodness. Payoff pitch. Fly ball, right field. It will eventually come down, and it drifts back and back as that wind kind of picked up and going to right field. And a long fly ball out, making the catch, Rafael Tapia. So for Smith, put a charge into it. First out of the inning. It was Trace Thompson, his second at bat, struck out swinging back in the 5th inning.
It's going to be a tough call for Dave Roberts and the front office and his staff on Trace Thompson. Andrew Toles has had a fantastic spring, and Jock Peterson.
Thompson takes a strike 0-1. Well, it's going to be a numbers game.
Right. That's the reason.
So you have 8 starting players. Now, we're not going to count the pitcher because the pitcher is going to fall in another category. So you have a 5-man rotation. You're going to have 8 men in the bullpen.
Right.
So you're at 13. Swing and a miss. You add the 8 position players. Now you're at 21. You're going to have 4 guys on the bench at most.
You're going to have at least 1 backup catcher, maybe 2, because Farmer and Barnes can both play other positions besides catch.
So you got Barnes and Grandal. Those figure.
Right.
Thompson hits it foul.
Absolutely.
Now, does that include Farmer? Again, multi-dimensional. He was an infielder to begin with at Georgia, shortstop to be exact. He's played third base, so he can play different spots.
Good bat from the right side.
So let's put Farmer to the side.
Yep.
So you've got Barnes and Grandal. Okay, so you got 1 extra man right there. Toles has had a good spring. 0-2, and it's outside, and it's smothered nicely by Ben Boone. Toles has had it. You've got Matt Kemp. So if you look at those 2, now you got another man on the bench. So now you got 2 guys on the bench.
That's
like, where else do you go?
That's the way I see it.
If you go to center field, you've got Chris Taylor. Now, where does Jock Peterson stand?
Well, that's the thing right there.
1-2 is swung on and missed. And here's the other man. You put him on the bench automatically. And that's Chase Utley.
Oh, yeah, he's there.
So there's 1 spot that is really open. Which way do you go?
Now, Jock hasn't had a great spring. He had a really good World Series. But, you know, the spring numbers don't really mean anything. But you want to see the good approach. You want to see a consistent approach, you know.
Mike Ahmed, his first at bat. There's a strike in there.
And then what you do is you look at options. Who has options left? If you're the front office, that's what they do, because you don't want to lose a guy to another organization if you have there's ways to manipulate your roster so you can try to keep everybody.
0-1, fouled off down the right field line. Well, we've been talking about it the last number of games. Jock Peterson has a couple of options left because he came up at an early age.
Right.
So they could, in theory, use one of those options this year and he not be on at least from the opening day roster. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but you begin to look and it's addition and subtraction. You can only come up the final number of 25 on an active roster. Pitch inside and blocked by Ben Boone.
It's interesting because everybody that's played the game in professional baseball and it's at this point where they have a chance to make the big league club, they want to be on the club opening day, but the way the game's being played today, it's different. So if you're not on the opening day roster, that doesn't mean you won't be there in 10 days, depending on who you're playing and what the needs are of the club.
1-2 pitch. It popped up. That'll be fouled down the right field line. You only have to look as far as Chris Taylor last year. He was like the 26th man when spring training finally came to an ending. And then you look at Cody Bellinger.
How about
Bellinger was not expected to come up until maybe September 1st call-ups.
Toles went down early. Bellinger went to left field, and then Adrian Gonzalez went down, and Bellinger went to first base. Outfield jobs opened up. So many things happened, and that's what you have to tell players.
1-2, and it swung on a miss. Well, the Dodgers not only the National League champions, but they were very fluid in what they were able to do with their 25-man roster.
Absolutely.
Because they had multi-dimensional talent.
That's right.
7th inning stretch, 13-4 Dodgers.
Fresh from
Seventh inning stretch here at Talking Stick at Salt River Fields on the east side of Scottsdale. Valley the Sun. Well, you would not have known it last night. In fact, last night's Dodger game at Camelback Ranch, Glendale, began with some light drizzle. Had some rain early this morning, but no rain on the parade of Edward Paredes, who takes over the left-hander on the mound. He is the 4th Dodger pitcher used. Hyun-Jin Ryu, Pat Venditti, Wilmer Font, and now Paredes, the lefty, taking over on a bright sunshiny day. It was 72 degrees at game time. This spring started out uncharacteristically chilly. As the games got underway, the temperatures are getting down into the 30s in the evening. But bright sunshine here this afternoon and a good crowd. Glad that you could join us on this simulcast, both radio and at television. Rick Monday along with Kevin Kennedy.
Good numbers. Those watching TV might have just seen on the screen. 2.25 ERA between AA and AAA last year. Lefty with a good arm. Just talking about the Dodgers, the way they used their roster last year. Here was a guy that came up and got some nice outs for the Dodgers late in the year.
Well, Cuevas is the first hitter for the Rockies, and he slams the first pitch to left field. Verdugo comes on and fields it on a hop. But Paredes, by the way, this is the 6th appearance that he's made this spring. 31-year-old lefty reliever. And for Paredes, this is his 10th professional season. So leadoff single by Cuevas. Be held over at first base. Rafael Tapia took over for Charlie Blackmon in center field. Come on his first at bat. There's a strike 0-1. Tapia, it's advisable if you are an infielder and hits a ground ball, you do not wait for it to come to you, because Tapia can fly. 0-1 pitch. Not going anywhere if you swing and miss wildly at that one. His heart was in it, but his backside was not.
Yeah, Tapia had some big pinch hits for the Rockies last year. When he came up, he did well in Albuquerque. He hit 369. The big leagues, he hit 288 in 70 games.
And that looks like a foreign substance as far as the breaking ball to Tapia from a lefty.
Yep.
That was a game, set, match.
Yeah, he didn't pinch hit against many lefties last year, especially with a breaking ball like that.
And it may have been for good reason. 1 out.
Buddy Block's been managing a long time. He understands. That didn't look so good.
Jordan Patterson. Patterson, big left-handed batter. Takes outside, 1-0.
Another guy that played in Albuquerque in 131 games at 26 home runs, 92 RBIs.
Stands off the plate, holds the bat high over the left shoulder. He started to offer and takes a strike, 1-1. Patterson, good size, 6'4", 2 1/4. Out of Mobile, Alabama. Boy, it gets warm there in the summer.
Oh, doesn't it? Wow.
And a little bit humid there in the Gulf.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Outside, 2-1.
A lot of strikeouts for Patterson last year versus walks. 128 strikeouts. He only walked 36 times in AAA.
He wasn't looking for walks. He went to home plate.
I think he expands the zone quite a bit.
2-1 pitch. Taken inside corner.
And around the plate. Hit the inside corner.
So the Dodgers, in spite of the fact is they trimmed down their roster. There were no real surprises. But by 20 players were reassigned. Now, some of them still in uniform for games, including today. And we're seeing some of those guys. But overall, 20 fewer guys, which makes it easier now because now we're getting down to the area where the players that are going to carry the burden throughout the season. Now you're wanting to get some more at bats to play a little bit longer in the games. 3-2 pitches fouled back. Always felt it's about the last, maybe 10 days or so.
Right.
Is it Dave Roberts along with the other managers will be looking at their players a little bit more. And some players say, hey, I need like 30 at bats. Some will say, hey, I would rather play the last 2 weeks every day.
Yep, that's right.
So you're trying to design it from a managerial standpoint and working with the players and the training staff on what suits different players best. Drive down the right field line. That's going to be for extra bases. Well, Patterson, we mentioned he's big and strong. When he makes contact, he powered that one. And the runner at third will be held on the double here in the 7th inning with 1 out.
He got one down in his zone where he likes it. He had 32 doubles last year, and he showed speed, 7 triples with those 26 home runs in AAA. Good swing on that low pitch.
Garrett Hampson. First at bat.
They've got all of Albuquerque playing right now, which is the new AAA club for the Rockies. Of course, the Dodgers have moved to Oklahoma City a couple years ago.
Hampson played in high A ball last year in Lancaster. He's out of Reno. And he enjoyed that high A league. I'll say he did. He had 326. Had 24 doubles. 12 triples. And 51 stolen bases. So another man, if he puts the ball in play with his speed, don't wait for it a long time to come to you. Takes a strike, 0-1. Right-handed batter. Runners at second and third. 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. 13-4 Dodgers. Dodgers need 3 hits to make it 20 for the afternoon. The big blast. Yasmani Grandal's grand slam in the 4th inning. Dodgers have also hit 3 doubles in the game. Make it 4 doubles. Corey Seager hit 2 of them. Knocked in a couple of runs. Chris Taylor had a 2-run double. Yasiel Puig, an RBI double. Matt Kemp hit a home run. Kemp was 3 for 3, had a couple of singles, and Grandal not only 3 for 3, but a grand slam, also added an RBI single. Big afternoon for the Dodger catcher. Little blooper to left center field. That's going to be trouble. It's going to be more than trouble. And they're going to send the runner around. Here's the throw, and out from here to downtown Phoenix. Well, you're trailing in the game at that point 13-5, and you have a runner thrown out at home plate.
And they didn't know the arm of Alex Verdugo in left field. One of the best arms last year in the minor leagues. Was drafted. He could either pitch or hit and play outfield, and he showed off that arm right there. Perfect strike on the hop to Rocky Gale.
Well, a nice throw, perfect throw, and a nice tag. One of the note is that the Dodgers outfield play, quite frankly, this spring has been superb. They have fielded the ball exceptionally well. They have hit the cutoff man, and they've known what to do with the ball before it has reached them. And a big play. They're 2 down now. 13-5 is the score. And a strike taken by Daniel Castro. So Stu Cole is a favorite for us because he sent a runner around, and that's an out. But down 13-5, get a runner thrown out easily at home plate. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, people may say, well, this game's over. It's spring training. Not if you're the third base coach in the big leagues, and not if you're the manager, Buddy Black. You don't want to see mistakes like that.
Castro could not hold up, gets rung up with a strike. 0-2. 2-out runner at second. Run across. 13-5 Dodgers. Good crowd on hand. 12,640 this afternoon. Most of the stands now are in shadow. There goes the runner from second. Throw to third, and it gets past early in a late cover at third by Farmer. So we talked about Hampson has some speed, and he showed that with the stolen base and error on the throw. 13-6.
It was a good throw by Rocky Gale too. It was right there, and it hit the runner. And Farmer was behind the runner as he was sliding into third base with his right leg. He was not at the bag, as you said, a little bit late, not anticipating a steal attempt with that kind of a lead that the Dodgers have right here.
That's why Hampson was able to take off, not paid that much attention to either by Edwin Paredes. So just pick up little things. I mean, you get the younger players, Kevin. I mean, they're trying to impress as much as they can, the manager and the coaches in the front office. You say, hey, well, wait a minute. For Hampson, able to see, hey, there was an opening to steal a base. He does. A throwing error and a run across, and now here's a base hit. A runner would have scored anyway, as it turns out. And Castro is in. That's the 4th hit this inning for the Rockies. Again, the Rockies, another team that you look at over the years and say, well, they're one team at home and they're another team on the road. And it proved that way again. Their first year in existence, 1993. They had a World Series appearance in 2007. But at home, the team hit .298 and scored 488 runs. On the road, they hit .248 and scored just 336 runs.
I think in the era of the launch angle, too, it makes it even worse when you go on the road. Because the ball obviously carries so well in Colorado. If you have power at all, you want to get it in the air.
Here's Ben Boom. Anthony Ben Boom, who took over behind the plate for Chris Iannetta.
But in some places, Rick, you know, the big uppercut launch angle type swing doesn't work in other ballparks on the road. Not everywhere.
Ben Boom takes outside. 2-0. He's a left-handed batter. So Paredes here in the 7th inning.
It's a tough error by Rocky Gale, by the way. Dave Roberts knows that. And even a little thing like that, if Farmer does make the club, or if he goes down and comes back up.
There goes the runner from first. Defensive indifference.
That's something that you will tell Farmer, hey, just don't take anything for granted. I know this game probably is over, but the Rockies are playing, and you mentioned, and you're right on. These kids are going to play. They're playing for Buddy Black. They want to show what they've got.
The young players are playing this game like it's a 1-1 tie in Game 7 of the World Series.
That's right.
They're only going to get a fraction of a look. And for Anthony Bimboom, he's had some pretty good looks. Last year in AAA, Albuquerque in 45 games held his own very well, 278 average. Trying to pick up a run here. 2 runs across. The Dodgers came up with 5 big runs in the second to take a lead. Rockies came back with 2. Dodgers came back the next inning with 3. Rockies with 2 more. Dodgers came back another 5. The Rockies with 2 here. Now there's a walk. A couple of runners on base. Dave Roberts making a trip out to the mound and looking to the bullpen, and that's going to be all for Edwin Paredes, who gives up 4 hits and a walk here in the inning. The lefty will head back to the third base dugout. We will head to a commercial break. Back with more from Scottsdale. Dodgers go to the bullpen. Corey Kopech takes over. Oh, it is spring training. Pitchers are working on their pitching. Hitters are working on their hitting. And when there's a change on the mound, both the pitchers and catchers are working on their disguise. Disguise being, even though it's spring training, they held their gloves up in front of their faces so no one could read their lips, even in spring training, and what they were going to do. But this is one of those things: come in, throw strikes. Here's Ryan McMahon, we were talking about earlier with the Rockies. Is a big man in their future. Fouls off the first pitch. He doubled in the 6th inning, his first at bat. Left-handed batter. They really like him at first base. He can also play at third, but if you're on the same team as Nolan Arenado, you're only going to be at third base to give Arenado a rest or if he is injured. Oh, 1 pitch. Good pitch that straightens up McMahon. The pitch inside, right at the belt, 1-1.
There's some Los Angeles area fans interested in Corey Kopech because he's from Pasadena, California. We have some family listening or watching. 31st round draft pick by the Dodgers in 2015. Pitched in Tulsa last year. Went to Temple City High School.
Pitch outside. The count goes to 2-1. So Kopech. Stocky build. Runners at first and second. 2 outs here in the 7th inning. 13-6. Dodgers lead it. Copping gets a breaking ball nicely done. 2-2.
Corey has two brothers. His brother Cameron plays for the Mariners right now. Cameron and Calvin. Corey, Cameron, and Calvin, the brothers.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 2 outs. Copping sent, delivers, swung on and missed, strike 3. For Corey, Copping comes in, does a very good job. Faces the big left-handed bat of the youngster Ryan McMahon and strikes him out. We have completed 7 innings of play. It's been a good afternoon so far for the Dodgers. We go to the 8th. Dodgers on top, 13-6.
I have an hour's worth of.
Top of the 8th inning, and for the Rockies, they go to the bullpen. Chris Russin, the left-hander, comes on. Russin, a career-high 60 relief appearances last year. His first season as a full-time reliever. And the first pitch on the way to Kyle Farmer's in there for the strike. 0-1. Russin has really captured the hearts of the Rockies fans in Colorado and what he has done coming in and extinguishing some fires. 0-1, swung on a miss, and the count 0-2. In fact, for Russin, he has worked now 84 career relief appearances wearing a Rockies uniform. Now he's gone 8-2 with an ERA of 2.89. Falls inside, 1-2 to Kyle Farmer. What is significant about the earned run average, 2.89. That is the lowest by a Rockies reliever in their franchise history. Goes back to 1993, their first year in existence. Breaking ball, swung on and missed. And Farmer a strikeout victim, and Russin gets his first man with a punch out.
He's a deceptive guy. He doesn't throw hard, but he quick pitches. Last year, like he quick pitches to Dodgers sometimes. He has a little curveball and a changeup. Tries to vary his delivery and vary his looks, and he just throws strikes. Gets a lot of chases on balls in the dirt.
Andrew Toles has one at bat since taking over in right field. Takes a strike 1-1. He grounded out his first time up. Where Russin was particularly difficult was on the road. For whatever reason, on the road, his ERA 1.88. Toles takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chris Russin. At 1.88, 32 road appearances. His ERA the last 32 games of the regular season was a fraction above 2. He really distinguished himself coming out of the Rockies bullpen. And again, the Rockies during the offseason They referred to it as the super bullpen. Well, we'll find out. 1-1's outside, 2-1. They say super bullpen, which is historically since 1993 been kind of a black hole for the Rockies. But they committed a lot of money to pick up some guys. Coles takes a strike, 3-2. $100 million to 3 relievers committed for a 3-year period. Wade Davis, Brian Shaw, and Jake McGee. There's Cole, strike 3. Toles was headed to first base, but he will do a 180. Let's go back to the Dodgers third base dugout. Back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down. Let's pause here. 10 seconds for station identification on the Dodgers radio network. Rocky Gale fouls off the first one. Station identification for those on the television side in this simulcast. Didn't mean that much, but it meant a lot to our radio network down the line.
Absolutely it did.
Rocky Gale at an infield single, takes a strike, in a count 0-2. It's Toyota's Ready Set Go sales event. Now you can get amazing deals on low APRs and great leases on award-winning Toyotas. See all the offers of the most popular models at buyatoyota.com. Gale takes inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Top of the 8th, 13-6 Dodgers. They have 17 hits, including a couple of home runs. Matt Kemp, who was 3 for 3, also had a solo home run. Yasmani Grandal was 3 for 3, including a grand slam. Grandal also had another RBI single, so knocked in 4 up to 13. Ground ball hit up the middle, handled by Castro at shortstop, and not to be overlooked, Chris Taylor had 2 hits and 4 bats and knocked in 3 on his own. And Corey Seager, 2 for 3, had a couple of RBIs as well. 1-2-3 inning. First time today the Dodgers have been retired in order, and we head to the bottom of the 8th. 13-6 Dodgers on top.
Is your truck
Good afternoon for this Dodger ball club. Good afternoon, really, for both ball clubs, and getting some full work in. Dodgers continue. We will next join you on Wednesday, simulcast, right here on AM 570 LA Sports, Dodger Radio Network, and also the simulcast on Sportsnet LA on Wednesday. Face these same Rockies at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. That's a night game. Be on the air on the radio side at 6:30. First pitch at 7:05 on Wednesday. Manny Banuelos takes over on the mound for the Dodgers, the left-hander out of Mexico. And the first pitch to Derek Gibson is missing, and the count 1-0. Banuelos out of Monterrey, Mexico, originally signed by the Yankees organization. And it's outside ball 2-0. He has been with the Tampa Rays and the Atlanta Braves at the big league level. 2015 he was with Atlanta 7 games. The year before that at the big league level with the Rays 5 games. Fly ball to right field. Andrew Toles just into foul territory, looking up in the sun, and he can't make the catch. A little different alignment in this ballpark in the way it's laid out, and you're a right fielder going to foul territory, you get sun.
Yeah, he got the sun, and I think that's what got him, because he had plenty of room once he crossed the foul line. I think he thought the ball was closer to the short wall and right down the foul line there into the stands, and the ball bounced just a foot to his left.
2 balls and a strike. Left center field, long run. Verdugo still going back, and it's going to be Trace Thompson who drifts over. Oh, he's like a gazelle when he runs, just gobbles up ground. And there's the first out here in the bottom of the 8th. Mike Tauchman comes on. Tauchman 0 for 1, the only other at bat that he had in this ball game. 13-6 Dodgers. Pitch outside. Banuelos. The shadows just kind of creeping out, not quite all the way to the first base foul line. 1-0 pitch is taken upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. No wind to speak of at all. The flag's out at right center field. They're just loitering right now. 2-0 pitch outside. We mentioned it was 72 degrees after some heavy rain early this morning, about around 5 o'clock, 5:30. Banuelos. The strike. 3-1. Banuelos, as we understand it, and we mentioned he's from Mexico. He did not grow up with a father figure. His father figure really became coaches as he was moving up the ladder. Fly ball to center, and that's going to drop in, and Thompson able to get it. Falls down, and Tauchman was thinking about double the entire time, and he winds up there with a double.
Sure was. Tauchman had 30 doubles in AAA last year with 16 home runs, and he stole 16 bases and hit .331. So he's got good speed, and he was thinking 2 all the way. You're right. Banuelos. Manny Banuelos was a big prospect, of course, with the Yankees at one point. But it's been 10 years now since he signed years ago with New York. Time has gone by very fast.
Brian Mundell will pinch hit for Noel Cuevas, who is serving as the designated hitter and batting the number 9 spot for Bud Black's Rockies. First pitch, fly ball, right field. Tracking it is Toles. He'll make the catch, and tagging and going to third is Tauchman. 2 down. Well, Mundell didn't hang around very long. First ball hacking, and it's a long time to wait for one swing.
It is. He wasn't going to waste it. Going to make contact.
This game is approaching 3 hours and 5 minutes. So you sit there for 3 hours, and you're not going to inspect anything. Rafael Tapia, who had one of the very disappointing at bats in the 7th inning. It's the first pitch and slaps it foul. Tapia did not like breaking balls from the left-hander Edwin Paredes in the 7th inning. Tapia was on the move, and it was not towards the baseball. It looked like his back end was looking for a seat in the dugout, and the dugout's behind him. 0-1 delivery. Ground ball. Nice backhand. Stop. Picked it up. Throws, and it's not in time. Tapia, as we mentioned, runs exceptionally well, so you did not have a whole lot of time. Nick Ahmed went over and knocked it down, but it goes a single.
He got the fastball. That's what he likes. He got a fastball in. They're looking bad on breaking balls. He gets a fastball in. He turns on it, knocked down nicely on the right side, but too much speed.
Well, you just wonder as well. You got Rocky Gale behind the plate. That was Gale in the bullpen. The last at bat that Tapia had, where he was somewhat harmless against the breaking ball. Jonathan Patterson fouls back the first pitch. Patterson doubled to right field in a 3-2 pitch in the 7th. Took over the number 2 spot in the lineup. DJ LeMahieu had been there. LeMahieu went 1 for 3. 13-7 now the score. Dodgers on top. Crowd has kind of quieted down. Somewhat of a pedestrian involvement right now in the game. Still a lot of people have held on and watching this on just a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hope your Sunday afternoon has gone as well as the Dodgers have to this particular point. 13-7. Things improve for Kevin Kennedy, broadcast partner today, who was denied entrance into the stadium to begin with this morning. 30 minutes later, evidently the proper authorities had been alerted, and they graciously said, okay, you can go in for at least 3 or 4 hours.
My Dodger employee pass just didn't work here. Colorado's ballpark. I wasn't going to play. It's like I wasn't, denying me coming in and playing.
And you had like 4 different credentials on you.
I had, yeah, I did. I had 4 exactly.
To no avail. 1-2 delivery. Swung on a miss, strike 3, and that will end it. 1 run, couple of hits, and 1 runner left on base. We head to the 9th. Finally. 13. (13-7). Well, there's some outfielders that have gotten in some legwork today. There have been a total of 28 hits, 17 by the Dodgers, 11 by the Rockies. Alex Verdugo takes the first pitch from Chris Russin here in the ninth for a strike, 0-1. And fouls off the next pitch, 0-2.
The good news today is that Ryu looked okay, looked pretty good with some of his breaking stuff against the lefties that we talked about in the pregame show.
Infield to pull. Verdugo hits it to the right side of the infield on 2 hops. Up with it, McMahon. He'll take it to the bag himself. 1 out.
Tell you what, there's a lot of prospects on both sides out there playing right now that we're going to see in the big leagues for both teams. Dodgers are very deep in AAA, and so are the Rockies.
A trip to the mound for some reason by the catcher.
Apparently he knows the hitter.
No, they're just practicing. They put the gloves over their faces again, over the mouth, so no one could read their lips.
Getting ready for the big leagues.
Okay. That's your story and you're sticking with it.
Well, they know it's a TV game. Back to LA anyway.
Chris Russin in his second inning of work. The Shadows had just about reached home plate. There's a strike. That found home plate as well. That fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Running parallel with the first base line for the most part. Sunshiny afternoon here on the east side of Scottsdale. To the left side, the ground ball, and throws over the first base for the out. McMahon started to head to the dugout like he thought it was the 3rd out of the inning.
Well, must have felt like it to him. Tell you what, Russin is just looking like picked up where he left off last year. He's just very sneaky, doesn't throw hard, keeps you off balance. 5 up, 5 down.
And another trip to the mound, including with Buddy Black, the manager. Rockies have a right-hander in their bullpen. So Bud Black also holding his right hand up to his mouth so no one can read his lips, and that's going to be all for Russin.
21 pitches for Russin. That's all Buddy wanted him to go, and he wants to.
So we've got a pitching change here in the 9th inning, like we needed. Step aside, take a break. Back with more after this. Johnson comes in out of the bullpen. So 43 games last year at Double-A. Good ERA, was under 3. And he's called upon to get the final out here in the top of the 9th inning. Dodgers on top 13-7. Donovan Solano is the batter. He's the hitting hero last night, as Kevin was saying, knocked in the winning run in the bottom of the 9th to break up the tie against the Cubs. Ground ball to shortstop, and that is going to do it. And we finally go to the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers trying to wrap things up. They're in pretty good shape. On top 13-7 in Scottsdale.
More and more people have discovered
We reached the bottom of the ninth inning. Dodgers a commanding lead, 13-7. Venuelos will stay in the ball game. The Dodgers make yet a couple of changes. Cody Thomas takes over in right field. Earl Robinson, who had been at second base, goes over to shortstop. And Gavin Lux is now the second baseman. And if your scorebooks, if you're keeping score along with us, yours are just as jam-packed with chicken scratch as ours. 1 ball and no strikes to Garrett Hampson. And Banuelos delivers. It's now 1-1 is the count.
I like what both managers are doing, Dave Roberts and Buddy Black. They remember when they were minor leaguers trying to come up, and what they're both doing is getting all these young guys that they've called up for this game. They're going back down in the game. We're getting them in the game.
Breaking ball down low, 2 balls and a strike, especially after working out in the backfields. And
you bet.
This is the A game, and there were almost 13,000 in attendance here this afternoon.
That's right.
So you've been sitting in the bullpen or in the bench for 3+ hours. And throw him a bone.
That's exactly right.
2-1 pitch. Swung on a miss, 2-2. This is more about trying to get people an insight, like the September call-ups. Now, yeah, there's a lot of guys that get called up, but it's kind of a preview to what you're trying to reach on a full-time basis, that being the big major league level.
Totally agree.
2-2 on the way. Little ground ball, softly hit. Robinson to first base, 1 out. And there's some people that don't get it, and I understand that, and I respect that. But having been a September call-up years and years ago, it was more than a call-up and sit there and watch, because it was not with a team that was in contention, shoved into the lineup.
Absolutely.
But you get a chance to understand, oh, okay, this is the speed of the game.
I totally agree with you, Rick. That's something. That's why I like what Dave and both Buddy and Dave are doing.
Daniel Castro fouls off the first pitch.
That's why DJ Johnson came in for Buddy Black, a Double-A kid that threw well. We saw his numbers there in Tulsa. You never know. He might see him this year in the big leagues. He might need him. Gave him 1 batter against the Dodgers. And now Lux for the Dodgers in there getting an inning.
Ball outside, and a count 1-1.
Helps you get acclimated as a player better too. I remember back too, Rick, Earl Weaver, giving me a chance every time because the Dodgers were on TV all the time.
Ball 2-1.
When we played you guys, I was a young catcher behind Rick Dempsey, and he put me in against the Dodgers. We played you twice, once in Vero and once for the Orioles. Trained in Miami at night, I remember, and he gave me a chance to catch a lot of innings, only because he knew it was on TV in L.A. That means something to a young player. He knew that.
Ball fouled off, especially if you're from that area. Chance, your folks. But it's about expectation.
He knew it, yeah.
You get the idea on what your expectations are, and you also understand what the expectations of other people are. 2-2 on the way. Softly hit ground ball. Banuelos, 2 down.
Of course, he had me face Charlie Huff twice. I didn't want to see him again.
Yeah, I remember what
I saw 6 pitches.
Felipe Alou said that the knuckleball should be the easiest pitch to hit.
Did he? Really?
And I asked him why. He goes, simple. You know what's coming. And I went, knowing what's coming is light years away from trying to hit it.
And knowing where it's going.
Anthony Bimboom, his second at bat. Left-handed hitter. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Or trying to catch it, Rick. Forget about it.
I often said about Phil Niekroos, a Hall of Fame knuckleball pitcher. I said as the ball would come to home plate, knuckling and dancing, looked like a butterfly on caffeine. I said the knuckleball would just giggle at you as it went by.
Laughing, yeah. Should have a smile on its face. It really, you're right.
And I told Niekro once, crowded out, I went past the mound. I said, if you don't laugh at me while I'm trying to hit it, I won't swing and let go of the bat.
Well, Charlie Huff threw some laughers at me. That's what I remember.
0-2 pitch.
Man, is he tough.
Just missed outside, and this game will be extended for at least one more strike. 13-7 Dodgers.
When I heard Phil Niekro and Joe talk when I met both of those guys, and they said they could make the knuckleball move where they wanted to, I'm like, forget about it. Now I really have no chance.
Yeah, forget about it. 1-2 pitch. And it's called strike 3, and the curtain will finally come down. It will come down indeed. The Dodgers win their 10th game of the spring as they come over and they beat the host Colorado Rockies. That's going to do it for us. 13-7. The Dodgers wind up with the win. And for our Sportsnet LA viewers, you can join us on Wednesday as the Dodgers will face these same Rockies over at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. First pitch as 7:05. Keep it in mind, that is a night game. So for all of us and for our Dodger Radio Network listeners, we'll be right back to wrap up things from Scottsdale.